Already?
No.
Right, I do the fucking intro, so. Welcome to Celtic
Right, just on you go, Paul.
the Bawz and Bovril podcast with your host Mark, myself Paul. Join us tonight. We have Mickey. It's Mickey Dundee from our Celtic page to the podcast www.celticrumours.co.uk. We've also had Jonas, our Dundee United supporter that comes on the podcast. On tonight's show, we're going to talk about Ange, his nearing Tottenham's manager's job. We're going to speak about the season, the whole. We'll also get Jonas's opinion on this whole scenario from an outside view, and we'll talk to him about Dundee United's record-breaking kit deal. I believe Jonas you've done with.
That's about the only thing that's positive just now.
Yeah. So, firstly, though, I'll hand off to Mark for a few shout-outs.
Right, thanks, Paul. Thanks very much to Mikey and Jonas for coming on as well. Everything, the link to all our forums, everything that's in the description box below through the link tree. We've hit 670 subscribers, so I think that's us picked up about 10 subscribers in the last week or so that's quite a good thing. A few shout outs to guys off the forum, old Tim Alloy, a Glasgow Green, wee John United Ireland, and Richie. That just, if you remember, hit the like button, please, and if you do leave a comment. Should you see who's in the live chat before you start, Paul? Evening, Jabba, Northampton. Tim, nice to see you in, mate. Mikey, you're there. Brian, all right, Brian. I'm those you've not been about, mate. I hope everything's all right. Bobby, nice to see you again, Bobby and Bud. Right, that's us, Paul. Let's get it going.
So, with Ange nearing Tottenham's manager's job, it's all over Twitter at the moment. Fabrizio Romano has kind of been putting it out extensively today that the deal is practically done. Celtic have received a 4.5 million sterling, I think, is it? Compensation fee.
About that, aye, that's what's coming out, aye.
For Ange, look, firstly, Mark, I'll come to yourself on Discord and stuff like that. You kind of didn't see happy the way it kind of folded out?
No. The way he's done it, Paul, I mean, he came in, he said all the right things. I mean, I've said it to everybody I spoke to today about this. I see that whoever the next manager is, I'll no be buying into the way you have.
That's what I'm saying, Mark. Are we just gutable Celtic fans? We love hearing that.
I'm nearly 50-year-old, Paul, and I've been mugged off for this guy. Basically, he came in, and all he's done, Paul, is played to the gallery. He really has, and the way it's his full. I've said it, Paul. I've said it in the forum. I can understand him want to go to England or go somewhere and try better himself.
But just come out and say it, Mark. Do you know what I mean?
Be more honest and open with the fans about it. But even I still can't get my head around why you would go to Spurs. That's one of the things that kind of sticks in my head as well. I mean, if the guys like Marino and Conte in there, if they can't sort that out, I'm just not going to sort that out. But it's just the way he's conducted himself in the last few months, and that he's really he's been right down in my estimation. And as I've said in the forum, even if these talks had broke down, there's no way he could have come back to Celtic. He's burnt his bridges. And I
think that really got to me, Mark,
things like that. Honest to God, I hope he's sacked by Christmas. I really do. That's how angry I'm about the way he's... Not just me, but we're all Celtic supporters. And we all bought into this. Still a couple of weeks ago, he's sitting saying, you'll be surprised how long I'll be here for. Aye, you're fucking right, you'll surprise you, lying.
2.5 fucking years, yeah, exactly. Not even 2.5 years.
2.5 years, aye. I mean, Brendan Rodgers was here longer. If a fair bit, he snooked out in the middle of the night, but I just did not think that he would have left, especially with the Champions League, the backing he's got for the board and everything.
Do you know what I'm saying? The thing, all right? There's not much difference, really. the way Ange walked out, Mikey, and the way Brendan Rodgers walked out, is there?
No, like I says, if Ange was offered the job back when Conte left in February, Ange would have dropped trowel and left at the same time. You know what I mean? I see a lot of Celtic fans saying, "Oh, at least he's seen the season out." You only seen the season out because the job wasn't offered to him a few months ago. I mean, let's not kid ourselves on.
I agree with that, Mikey. I think that he'd have walked if he'd been offered the job when Conte left. I really do.
Look, I think what I heard, like, and I put up in Discord was after the fella Slot kind of distanced himself, his agent was all over Spurs for the job.
But see what that Slot came out and said. See, word for word, he could have took that and said to Ange, just read that out. Because that boy was saying, I'm building something, I'm getting to the Champions League. Do you know what I mean? What that boy said, you could have just said to Ange, look, just read that the exact same as him out.
And what's the difference between PSV Eindhoven and Celtic, Mark? I mean, we still have this ambition. Both clubs have this ambition to do well in Europe. Do you know what I mean?
Well, Arne Slot, he's the manager of Feyenoord.
Feyenoord, yeah.
But that's what I mean. Feyenoord are a massive club like Celtic, but like I says, the Sloth spoke to Tottenham for, I think it was only a few hours, then decided that he was better where he was. He's built something at Feyenoord. He's won the league for them, Champions League football. He wants to take them there and give it a bash with the club. Ange has been here 2 years and failed in Europe every year. Know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I said, we've been pumped out of Europe at Christmas 2 years in a row. You thought he would at least give it one more go. And then Celtic, that's what I said to Mark earlier. With the funds that Celtic have got and the backing that Ange has been given, if he had a run at Europe this year and we never got European football past Christmas, Celtic were well within the right to start asking questions of Ange. Know what I mean?
Aye, I've said that as well. If he failed in Europe again, you wouldn't. If we were planning on being a European club, we would need to actually question if Ange was going to be the man to take us to the next step.
Well, that's one thing, Mark. He can't say he didn't get the backing by the board, and we're falling into this scenario, Mark, where me and you constantly said it. We threw all our eggs in one basket with Ange.
Aye, you know, they came back and butt us in the bum when it all went
again. Mark. You know,
evening, you, Dave. Thanks for joining us. You as well, Rebel 86. Nice to see you again, mate.
Let's just get yours. Sorry, Mikey, go on.
Sorry, just before we get yours in, what a lot of Celtic fans need to realise as well, because I think a lot of them are panicking over, in my opinion, nothing. They keep saying that, Kyogo will be away and Hatate and everybody's going to follow him. The Celtic supporters not realise that all these players are under long-term contracts.
Uh-huh.
If their players are wanted by Tottenham or other clubs, they're going to need to pay big money for them. No, I mean,
could you really see, though, Mikey, Spurs selling Harry Kane and Kyogo coming in to replace him? There'd be a meltdown in Spurs.
But they've not got a choice, though. I'm not saying Kyogo's going to replace Kane, because Kane's 100% going to leave to go to Real Madrid to replace Benzema. So Kane's away no matter what. Whether Kyogo's his replacement or no, that's no for me to see. I didn't think so, but I still think he'll try and sign him. But again, it's going to cost big money. You know what I mean? Like when Rodgers left Celtic, a few months to go, and then we had problems with it was Christie and Edward, and that they were all come to the end of the deals. So, I mean, this is totally a different scenario. We've got a great squad. Everybody's at a good age. They're all on long-term deals. Champions League football. So, I mean, Celtic have got a choice of a lot of good managers. And we're in a different neck of the woods now. So
I've said just where we are, the squad we've got, the money we've got Champions League football and that. I think we'd be surprised. I said to you earlier, Mikey, I've said to Paul, I'd be surprised at the level of people that could be interested in the job because of that. I mean, even if they come in and we're getting to this stage now, but as I said, I'm not buying into another manager, right? Even if somebody comes in, they're only went in for two seasons, right? Fair dues. But get a top manager in that's, do you know what I mean? See this building, get a director of football in to deal with the building behind the scenes and just get a manager in that's going to take that team to the next
The
level.
system stays the same, Mark. Do you know what I mean? The system stays, like, even Cork City here have a director of football. Do you know what I mean? He's not doing great at the moment, like, but we still have one. Dundee United have a director of football, Jonas, don't you?
Well, we did, no, not at the moment, but...
We did. You did have one, though, didn't you?
We did, yeah.
Yeah. You know, and what's your, just from the outside, Jonas, what's your take on it? Like, are we right to feel angered by this, by the way? Ange was kind of talking the talk to us the last couple of weeks and then jumping
I mean,
ship.
I can understand why people are annoyed, obviously, with the way it's been, with certain things that have been said as well. And I find it strange that he's going to a club that aren't even in European football this season. So it's, and also a club that's needing a rebuild, that are going to lose their best striker in the summer. And then, I mean, the problem he's going to have at Tottenham is as well is she's trying to attract players to that club when they're not in Europe. Like, top players going to those types of leagues, I mean, you'll get some of them that'll be happy playing in the Conference League or in the Europa League, but most of them want to play in the Champions League. So you're not going to get any real high-end players, in my opinion, if you're not in the Champions League. And Tottenham aren't in any form of European football, so who's going to want to go and play there for a year? You know what I mean? And then Man City will strengthen, Arsenal will strengthen, Man United, Chelsea. I mean, Newcastle are already in the Champions League. So what's it? I mean, who's to say that he'll be under massive pressure to try and get them to qualify for the Champions League? So it could go south for the winter really quick, and he could end up in mid-table mediocrity. And the problem that they've got is because he's not a big name. He's going to be on a very short sort of like grace period with the supporters as well. If he gets Man City, Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool in these first half dozen games and loses 4 of them at the start of the season, the fans could be calling for his head before you're even into September. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because they've made it known that they don't want him. I mean,
well, that's what I mean. You already look at the meltdown. You look at the meltdown that's happened since he's even. You know what I mean? They're already not happy with him, so it's not going to take. All it's going to take is a couple of bad results for the knives to be out. You know what I mean?
Well, that's hilarious, eh? Like, that's what I mean. That's the total utter snobbery of English football, eh? Like, we didn't want this guy. Now, who did Tottenham to think that? One, Celtic are massive compared to Tottenham, right? They can go on about English Premier League money and fancy stadiums and that. Fancy stadiums doesn't win you games. And they're a mediocre middle-tier Premier League club, so they're lucky they're even getting a manager like him in the first place, eh? No, I mean, that's all I've heard for the last 2-3 days is, we deserve better than this, and we want this, and we want that. They've not got any right to dictate to anybody. They've not won a trophy in 20 years. You know what I mean?
The only real chance they had to win a trophy, they sacked Jose Mourinho in the semi-final. Just be 2 days, I think. Was it 2-3 days, Jonas, I think, before the League Cup final that time they sacked Jose. You know?
I can't mind, Paul.
They did,
I'd do a couple of wee shout-outs to these new boys, Paul. Even in Justin, read that, Mikey. That Justin Kimmett, he's saying what you said earlier. He's actually quite excited to like going forward in that. Do you know what I mean? David Stalker, nice to see you again, mate. Stephen McGonigal, Celtic forever. Cheers for coming on again, bud. You're JFP in as well. Evening, JFP.
Yeah, but it is an exciting time for Celtic though. Before, like when Rodgers left, and then obviously Kennedy took over, and then we got Ange and that, and the squad was a full rebuild. Like I says, Ange has left or is away to leave. Like I've said, we've got a full squad, a very young squad. Everybody's under contract. A lot of good players, Champions League football, very good finances. Like I says, it's good to. It is, in my opinion, it's exciting. There's a lot of fans that need to look past, like, we've lost Ange and this, but there's a lot of good managers out there. Eh?
Yeah, we're in a different position, Mikey, where we were when Neil Lennon left. Do you know what I mean? As you said there was players in the last couple of months of their contracts. There was players leaving. We're not now, like, we're long-term contracts, is what you said. With right. Kyogo, Hayate, they're all long-term contracts.
Yeah, Edward and Ryan Christie and that, they all down tools. They didn't want to play for Celtic. Yeah. Like, the people keep saying, the Japanese players all want to follow Ange and that. Japanese players and that are the most respectful people and players on the planet. No, what I mean, like, says if Ange wants Kyogo or Hatate or that, that's fine, but you'll be paying big money for them. So, like I say, they're going to tell.
But Mark, what does this? Sorry, Mikey, go on.
No, I was going to say, well, Tottenham are ready to go and sell Harry Kane to Real Madrid in the last year of his contract for 100 million. So they're going to have plenty of money to spend there. So
what does this do for our transfer plans, Mark? Like, we kind of chew all our eggs in one basket with Ange and attracting players to suit his style of play. Does that kind of put us on a bit of a back burner?
Well, I mean, according to Ange, a couple of months back, there was already plans in place for the summer signings and that. But if they are still in place, when the new manager comes in, it's got to be down to him. He's got to show him the list and say, look, we can pull the trigger on any of these players as soon as you tell us if you want them. But if he doesn't want them, it's not going to happen. And that's just another thing. It's just all these plans that Ange made is just all blowing up in our faces.
That's the one thing that's kind of really got me in this whole situation is our transfer plans. Do you know what I mean? And the process, I think, needs to happen quickly, Mark, that we don't have another kind of Eddie Howe situation, that I hope that the club already kind of knew about this and we do have plans in place and get the manager in as soon as possible.
There's enough managers out there, Paul, that are available. No negotiation apart from being the manager. You've got like Potter, you've got Jesse Marks, you've got even Brendan Rodgers. Do you know what I mean? So there's no reason for there's top managers that are all out of job they know. So there's no reason to be dragging my heels over it. Get in there and get it sorted out as soon as we possibly can.
All the best managers in the world want to manage in the Champions League, and Celtic are right into the group stages. They're financially backed, like it says. They've got a good squad as it is. That's a dream job for a lot of people, eh? Like, so you come on Champions League night to like at Celtic Park, eh? Like it says, there's a few contenders out there, but Jesse Marsh for me, based on what he just did with Salzburg alone and the squad that he assembled there, he's the number one for me. Eh? He's already talked in the past when we came up against these teams and we got annihilated from Salzburg many a time when he was the manager. He's already talked that one day he would love to be at Celtic. Like I say, just give him what he wants and just get him in the door.
I agree with that. There's no need for us to be dragging our heels. I know Rodgers has ruled himself. I'm just talking about who is actually available. But again, he's ruled himself. I just was talking about that before we came live. According to Sky, he's taking a kind of break from football. But if you don't ask the question, you'll never know. He spoke before about he would come back to Celtic. Maybe this is going to be his only opportunity.
I just think, like I said to you, Mark, it was kind of a bit strange that he turned up in that game in the league in the Scottish Cup semi-final against Rangers. He was in the stands. Could we have known back then, or that Ange was away?
It's hard to. You're kind of guessing then, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? As I said, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but it's the kind of things are starting to be piecing it together, isn't it? It's Ange is just strung as a line for the last couple of months, basically. That's the way I'm looking at it.
I think what's annoying me about the whole situation, I understand managers move on in that. Eh? Like he says, if he wants to go to Tottenham, fine. But it's all the nonsense the last week, 2 weeks in the press. If you're wanting to stay, just say you're staying. If you're wanting to leave, then say you're thinking about leaving. None of this nonsense. Like you just said on Saturday after the game, he said that he was not prepared to answer questions because he wanted to enjoy this.
Exactly.
He wanted to enjoy this milestone. And not even 24 hours later, he's already signed for another club. That's what's pissed me off more than anything. Just be honest, because fans will respect it more. Eh?
Exactly, you get more respect, Mark. That's what Mikey's saying there. Like, he'd even better terms.
Aye, definitely. Aye, that's the thing about it. Because he's just spinning us a lot of shite for the last few weeks, I think that's what's hurt people more. I mean, it's like Rodgers, right? It was the same thing. The atmosphere at Celtic Park must have been rank rotten at the time. So it affected the team probably with Rodgers. But everybody knew that Rodgers was leaving in the summer if he hadn't left when he did. So he took it. So he done what he done. But everybody's saying, "Oh, but Ange stayed to the end and stuff like that." But the thing is, why could he not come out and even explain why to the fans why you done that? Why you chose to go to Spurs? I mean, I know managers. Somebody's got to ask him that question. And in a press conference, just say, well, what was your thinking? Why did you leave Celtic to come to Spurs?
Money.
Probably go.
I could genuinely be the only.
That's the only reason I can honestly think they're talking about like £10 million contracts and stuff like that. I honestly think that could be hit. It's totally down to money, and it's just a chance. And he doesn't care if he gets sacked before Christmas because he's walking away with £10 million.
As well.
Sorry, I've just written notes in the chat that Northampton Tim.
I suppose as well, Mark. What?
Mikey was talking here, Paul.
Sorry, Mike. I thought he said he was writing on the chat.
No, I was just reading that Northampton Tim says this is going to go on for a few months. Celtic can't afford this to go on for a few months. Like he says, we can't afford this Eddie Howe thing to happen. Like, well, we got lucky with Eddie Howe and then Ange and that. We can't afford for that to happen again. There's plenty of managers out there that are not even in contract, that are top class managers. So, like he says, this needs to be done quick. This can't be dragging on for months. No way. So,
I think we need to get a manager in as soon as possible. When we back to pre-season, kind of mid-July, is this?
Aye, beginning of July. I know about the 7th or 8th or something, maybe, Paul.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. But get them tied up and get them done. I mean, it's a close season, you know, so it's not as if he's going to be needing to be at Lennoxtown every day of the week. But in this modern day with internet and stuff like that, you know what I mean? He can be looking at players and doing what he needs to do, but these changes behind the scenes and stuff like that. Doesn't actually need to be in the building every day of the week.
What's your thing then on the rolling contract, Mark? Are you in favour of that with managers, or would you like a new manager to come in here, give you 4 years? At least then is there some commitment? I know he might go within that 4 years, but it's giving you some bit of expectations that he could be here for those 4 years, you know?
It's no use. Maybe for the first season, Paul, you can kind of maybe understand that because it maybe suit the club and it maybe suit the incoming manager. But if for a success, part of it should be for that second season they sign a new kind of longer term deal. Definitely.
Well, I know, like the rolling contract, it starts the next day again, like, you know, it rolls on another year the next day, ain't it? When one day finishes, it just rolls on. Like
every day is just a year's deal still to go. 2 minutes, you know, Paul. Even the PK, I don't know if I gave you a shout out. Thanks for coming in, James McGrory. Oh man, I don't know how you even say that guy's name in Irish, Paul. There it's on the screen. Oh, Dub, Paul. I put it on the screen, but thanks very much for coming in anyway, mate.
Jesus, man.
Can you not pronounce that either? Bestie, nice to see you again, Bestie, bud.
Donehill. Something like that.
Thanks for coming in anyway, mate, and joining us.
Jonas, what's your, like, do you kind of, Dundee United, did you ever do kind of rolling contracts or with managers, or was it always like a long-term plan, 3 years, 4 years?
No, well, I think it normally has tended to be a couple of year contract, but we're obviously with Goodwin coming in, he was only initially on a 12 game contract till the end of this season. Obviously, then he got the 2 year deal at the end of it. But it tends to be normally we tend to go for 1 or 2 years normally. Like, but we've had our bridges, been stung with that in the past. So I think that's maybe why they gave them the sort of rolling contract to begin with.
But I mean, the thing about that is as well, Paul,
It's more security as well. Things
Aye,
for the
but
club
that's,
as well,
I mean,
Mark.
I mean, if we even bring somebody in and give them a 4-year contract, it doesn't mean that they're going to be, chances are they're not going to be here for the full 4 years.
Yeah, and if we want to get rid of
Aye.
them, Mark, I think we'd have to pay them out their
Aye.
contract. So then it's like it's a benefit in one way, and another way then it's not. Do you know, it works both ways, really, don't it?
See, I'm just out of curiosity, and maybe you guys in the chat or you guys maybe know, or Jonas. See if you put a manager on a rolling contract, but in this rolling contract, are you able to put a release clause in the manager's thing? So just say you can activate the year's rolling contract, but his buyout of that year is 10 million. Is that allowed?
I would say so.
I think so, Mike. I think so, Mikey. Aye. The term Tim Alloy asked me that on the forum the other day. He asked if it was a case of like if Spurs came in and that's her own contract, everybody's just saying is it a year's money, but it doesn't need to, that's just a kind of term of phrase people use, but it'll be written into his contract, the actual figure. There'll be a figure. It's not just got to say a year's wages, a year's salary, or do you know what I mean? There'll be an actual figure in his contract. So
it's like buying a player, Mark, really, like, isn't this?
Aye, in a way, aye.
Exactly, like that would be a good if you had somebody on a rolling contract a year, but then said, but if a club was to approach you, the release clause is 10 million, then I'm all for a rolling contract then. Because then it would make sense, because if it wasn't working out, then you can just say, see you later, know what I mean?
Brian Sheen was Martin O'Neill at Celtic Park advising the board and giving opinions on certain managers.
I just didn't think that the board would take his opinion into account.
No, he's a bit, no offence to Martin O'Neill, but he's a dinosaur. Do you know what I mean? Did he? Martin O'Neill couldn't manage. Martin O'Neill couldn't manage a kind of modern club. I don't think so. Do you know what I mean? With the amount of kind of coaches and the football science and all this kind of stuff and that, I don't think Martin O'Neill could do it, like work it. He would understand half of that these days.
Yeah, that's what like the few guys in the chat are asking, like, who do you want as manager? My number one, like I've said right from the start, is Jesse Marsh. What about you, Mark?
Roy Keane.
Do you know what, Mark? It won't surprise me by if his name popped up again. You know?
No, I would probably go with Marsh or the Bodo Glunt guy,
Nutson.
Aye, just
as
Ajax. Aye, but I mean, Marsh. If Rodgers has ruled himself out, I don't know if Potter is kind of the way they're talking about. He's still actually on a kind of gardening leave for Chelsea, so I don't know if that could end up costing him a hell of a lot of money. So it's got to be really Marsh's only kind of viable option, isn't it?
What about you, Paul?
I don't know. I was kind of swaying towards Potter, you know, but if he's on garden leave, how much is that going to cost us?
Yeah, that's why I said that to Mark earlier. I said
his contract was worth 50 million quid at Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
He is a top manager, Potter, but I just like.
But would his garden leave be until maybe the end of the season? They really can't tell him to stay out.
What would happen? What would happen with that is if Celtic wanted him to be manager and Potter wanted to accept, then it'd be up to Potter to basically give up the whatever he's due for Chelsea.
Aye, it's it's just he's probably just getting paid every month, Paul. See, like his salary, he'll just be getting. It's not as if he's getting a one-off payment of £50 million. It's probably just his salary. As long as he's out of work, he's getting paid his salary off of Chelsea. So if he takes another job, Chelsea stop paying him that. Because was Rodgers? Was Rodgers not under something like that at the time when he came to us?
From Liverpool, yeah.
Was it Rodgers? I was trying to think. There was I can mind it something like that coming up before.
But what about you, Jonas? Who do you think? Well, no, you're obviously United, but who do you think?
Just like with the contract situations and things, I think Marsh will probably be I think he looks like he'll end up getting the job because, like I say, Potter will be under that. But it's the same as that was the same when Goodwin took over at United. He was under like that gardening leave at Aberdeen, but he then when he accepted our job, he then went and wrote off the rest of the money.
Yeah,
you just forfeit. Yeah, so he forfeited his compensation, obviously coming manager. So, like I say, for any deal to happen with Potter, it would be a case of him having to waive whatever he was due.
I don't think a lot of Celtic supporters will actually realise how big an appointment Jesse Marsh would actually be. That's how sought after he is in world football. Like,
It's box office, isn't it?
yeah, well, when
I think, do you know what, Mickey? I think people will only look at Leeds because a lot of people don't see the kind of European football that he did, and they'll only look at Leeds. And like what you were saying, Mark, on Discord there and stuff, like Leeds were a shambles of a club anyway.
yeah, but that's what like Leeds. That's what I was saying to Mark earlier. Like when it came to Red Bull Salzburg when he was there, obviously the Austrian league is better than the Scottish league. He dominated that with Salzburg. Okay, he had more finance and that, but he saw the way he played football and that. Like he says, he played against Celtic, God knows how many times, and pumped us. Know what I mean? Like he said, he went to RB Leipzig, which is a poison chalice in the Bundesliga, as Jonas will tell you as well. That job and the way the club's run is just hated from top to bottom. And then obviously he's took over at Leeds, which is another, again,
poison
a rotten
chalice.
club. It's just a rotten club from top to bottom as well. So, like he says, if they got somebody like him, and like he says, that would be the kind of guy that I'd fancy to be there kind of long term. So,
just think, Mark, we want the manager whose name we can pronounce, and it doesn't take us ages to figure out what way to pronounce this.
I'm sure you'll still mess it up, Paul. Don't worry about it.
No, there's no doubts about that. Anyway,
sorry,
just going on.
Just before we move on, because I've just went and noticed that Brian's just went and said that John Kennedy. I want to get my opinion on that right away. When John Kennedy took over as manager on interim basis, when Neil Lennon left, he burnt his bridge forever, getting the Celtic job after his performance.
I think Kennedy will be away. I really do. I think Kennedy.
He just continued to do what Lennon was doing, same tactics, picking the same pish, everything. Like he's no manager, John Kennedy. Like I say, he might be a decent coach.
Good coach, as you said that, Mark. Good coach, yeah.
But I think he's away to Spurs. Yeah, he'll be away. Like that's one thing that I'm actually excited for with this change as well. A full change, like a full reshuffle. No, like Jesse Marsh or Potter or any manager of any sorts is not going to come to a football club and be forced coaching staff on them. They'll want to bring all their own coaching staff, scouts, coaches, physios, dietitians, everything. You know what I mean?
Is that maybe I said this earlier on? Is that maybe a kind of sign of Celtic's letting Kennedy and Stratton go, that they've got somebody lined up that's wanting to bring in their own backroom staff?
Mark, yeah.
Mikey says these guys. I mean, some of these big teams in Europe. Now there's 15 and 20 guys sitting in their dugout as part of their kind of backroom staff and that. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of the top managers, they've all got the people that they trust.
Yeah.
So into it, Mikey, so what you say is that guys like Marsh is going to be like, oh no, I'm not working with John Kennedy. He can go and work with the B team or something like that. I've got my own assistant that follows me fucking everywhere or the world kind of thing.
As you have said there, the last two managers, I think maybe, John Kennedy and the rest of the backroom staff have been just kind of just forced, not forced, but like that's why you're working with. The fact that it's already basically confirmed that Gavin Strachan and Kennedy is away with Ange tells me everything. Like he says, I think we've definitely, as soon as I seen Dermot Desmond at the match on Saturday, and a lot of people tell, well, it was the final, you would expect him to be there. That boy never attends matches unless there's something going on. So the fact that he was at that game, I personally think there's already somebody on the line to be appointed.
I think so too. Yeah, I think it could be Lord.
There'll be maybe I've done what like Ange's done. We've had talks with, do you know what I mean? Maybe a couple of guys to see if they're interested. Maybe took it a wee bit further down the line with one or two of them, kind of thing. But I don't think Dermot Desmond's. I don't think Dermot Desmond's kind of that naive note of something and always kind of in the background. Do you know what I mean?
Just look, I bring his name up because a lot of people were kind of saying the minute he comes in the door, it's Lowe's fault and stuff like that. Like, but what influence will he have in this new process for a manager? Like with the kind of, I would say at the moment, inexperience of Nicholson in these appointments.
Who?
Laurel's, Peter Laurel.
He'll not have any part of them, Paul, really. It's not his job anymore.
I know that, like, but would you think Nicholson would kind of maybe lean off his expertise in looking for a manager?
There'll be. I mean, let's not be
Consultation or something like that.
Peter Law's. I'm not saying he'll not have any input on these things and that, but when the push comes to the shove, it'll be Dermot Desmond and Michael Nicholson in the finance. What's the Chris something, the finance guy? It'll be these.
McCart, isn't it? McCart is this, I think.
No, that's a youth guy, is it? No.
Was it? Yeah, still good.
But it'll be down to them to sort it out. But I mean, it will still be run by the board, and Peter Law's the chairman of the board.
You know, I just hope Gavin Strachan lets the code to the laptop. Fucking.
Aye.
You know,
The Wi-Fi password.
They've all worked
but I'm
well
like you,
together.
Mikey. I'm with you, Mike. I want a whole change across the kind of backroom staff. I think a lot of them there now have been there a long time, and you know,
Well,
the only
I guess,
one I really feel comfortable with staying there is Stevie Woods, really. You know.
Yeah, well, he's what you want to keep Stevie Woods though, because
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
are
Yeah.
hard to come by.
You know.
But that's what I was saying to Mark. Like a lot of people will maybe just think that when a manager changes, it's maybe just a manager, a coach, and an assistant, and a few coaches. There could be 15, 20 members of staff that change hands when a manager changes. Like it says, it's a total. Like it says, this is why it needs to be done now. Like it says, not so much the squad in that, because the squad's already set as it is. Obviously, there'll be a few players ins and out, obviously. But the coaching, the staff, everything around the club, it's a massive change like that. Like it says, they got lucky with Ange last time when obviously Eddie Howe fell through and then Ange came in last minute and he was able to work with what he's got. That was lucky. You didn't get that lucky all the time. So, like I say, Jesse Marsh and Potter and guys like that, they've got massive backroom staff here. So,
like it's all kind of up in the air yet, Mark. Really, like till the club comes out and kind of states Ange is gone, and we kind of start seeing progress. Then who's kind of on the short list at the moment, you know? But you'll expect these top names of managers to be on Celtic's wish list, wouldn't you?
100%. And as I said, Paul, there'll be managers that are interested in the Celtic job that none of us even have mentioned on here or on the live chat of that the night, because what we've said, just where the club's sitting now, it should be, well, I'm biased because I'm a Celtic supporter, but it's got to be a very, very attractive kind of prospect or project or whatever you want to call it to any kind of young, good, top kind of manager trying to get a wee bit of a step up in the game, surely.
Birdie is saying, think it might be Harry Kewell could have been a reason why he was brought in. I kind of threw that to you, Mark, the other day. It wouldn't surprise me.
Why is Ange not taking him?
I know.
Thanks for joining us, by the way, Weirdy Beardy.
You know,
Michael O'Farrell as well. Thanks very much for
what
coming
what would be your thoughts there, Mikey? And that
Harry Kewell couldn't manage Barnet in England's bottom tier, so I didn't think he's going to quite make it as the Champions League manager like that.
I think he'd be let go.
I think he'd even struggle at Dundee United. What about that, Jonas? Would you take Harry Kewell as your manager?
I don't know, has he ever managed before? Or?
Carnage, I think, was this?
Who was it, Mikey?
Barnet.
I've even seen folk on Twitter and that talking about Scott Brown.
Yeah, but that's just people putting that. It's the same that every time someone leaves a club that, again, that's just it's fun.
Still there, Jonas?
Hello.
Aye,
Yes.
you cut off there.
No, what happens? My phone sometimes it powers down, so if I'm not moving it about, then it mutes my mic, but I can still hear everybody. No, I was just saying that Scott Brown's manages in the third or fourth tier English football or whatever it is with Fleetwood Town. You know what I mean? A slightly different kettle of fish than the Champions League, is it? So that's just a non-starter. That's just fans putting two and two together. That's just the romantic side of people seeing because he's a club legend. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, but me and Jonas have also been to see a Fleetwood game before. and it's like on the edge of being a high-profile junior team, like so.
I think it'd be a lot, Mickey, like League Two in Irish football. I say,
Yeah,
you
probably.
know,
Absolutely.
not
wrong.
that great, like. You
Never
know?
got wrong. Like he says, they've came like in the last 10, 15 years. They've came from nothing to League One, I think they are. So they're doing no bad. But Scott Brown's
I
got
don't
to,
think Scott Brown's nowhere near capable enough, Mark,
No,
of taking the Celtic job at the
no
moment.
chance. Absolutely no chance.
He's got a
he's
lot
a-
of more. He's got a
He's a
lot
daisy
great
more.
that-
manager. At
The
his
days of
first
that
club.
the days of that kind of appointments are long gone. Do you know what I mean? That's all. That's all right. The likes of your Motherwells and places like that. Do you know what I mean? But if you're at the Celtics level, you can't just appoint an ex-player just because he's an ex-player, because that's all it would be. He's done hee-haw as a manager.
No, actually, he's got plenty of teeth to cut yet before he's even considered in the future. Like, I mean, I'm not going to say that he's not a future
Maybe
manager.
get Fleetwood up maybe Mickey, if he got Fleetwood up the divisions or something, you know, that's some success. Like, but at the moment, the juice, he's actually done nothing really at the moment.
Celtic are a different animal just now.
Aye.
Like I've already said, with the finances, the current squad they've got, the Champions League football, this isn't going to be a project manager or somebody that they're going to roll the dice on. This is going to be somebody that's proven already that's going to come into this job.
I think, that's, you know, that's what I'm looking for in the new manager. And it's actually weird that we're talking about a new manager considering the success we had. You know, like, I want someone that can bring Celtic to the next level in Europe. You know, give us a good run, who knows how to play up, Mark, that knows that we always said Ange tactics in Europe was going toe to toe with teams, and we couldn't do that.
No.
And I want the manager who has experience that Celtic can't do that and has a different way of playing, not the same way of playing all the time. You know, I've seen that with Jesse March with Leeds. He changed his style, Mickey, when he played the big teams a bit. You know.
Yeah, but in the 2 years that he was, like he says, at Salzburg, Jesse Marson, that's when he was. I mean, people didn't realise how actually big the Salzburg actually are in Austria, and the pressure that he was under actually in Austria to actually get results. But the 2 years that he was there, the football he played, how well he did in Europe for a team from Austria, like outstanding. Like that's what got him moved to Leipzig. Obviously, it's the same group that own all it.
It was like a promotion type of kind of thing.
But about Nuxton, Mark, like you were saying, like Bobo Glue, we thought we beat them. Like we thought we trashed them, but to tow us apart and he put a team together within weeks, Mark.
Honestly, Paul, see if I was a betting man, me and Jack would be doing staying with my mum the new man. Because you'd have bet I'd have bet everything I owned on Celtic beating that Bodo Glimt.
Because remember when we did,
they were in their close season and everything.
Yeah, I remember we did a podcast, Mark, a week before that, and I was saying to you the amount of players that left and the amount of players he promoted from the youth system, and he was putting the team together, and all they were playing was called closed doors games then.
I mean, but that is
just wipe Celtic off the pitch. Wipe us off the pitch.
But that is, I'm judging him on, Paul, as the games against Celtic, to be honest, and kind of, you read that he's done so well and stuff like that, do you know what I mean? But as Mikey says, but if you said to me earlier on, if you're going to just get a guy in because he beating Celtic or doing well against Celtic, the St Mirren manager, he's done it twice this season, do you know what I mean? But as I said, that's all I kind of remember him for. And then what I read about him, that's the only reason kind of I put him in the mix. But I know a lot of Celtic fans are like kind of there. He's their number one pick. I'd have Marshall him definitely. I would.
I'm kind of leaning towards that. You know, like just what kind of Mickey is saying there, like not look at the league situation, Mark. You know what I mean? And look what he did with Salzburg and stuff like that. You know.
That's right, Mikey. They beat Roma. I know that's right. Aye.
They did, yeah.
But that's what people like. This is where everybody's like football fans. Everybody's obviously got an opinion, and a lot of fans could be very fickle and find stuff in that. You can go through every manager in the world and find something negative. You know what I mean? Like it says, before Ange came, his win percentage was horrific.
That's what somebody put that up about Marshall in the forum yesterday. His win percentage was only 50%. Ange had only a win percentage of 50%. once in his career before he came to Celtic. Even his last one, he was at, I think it was 48 or 49% at that Yokohama. So you see, just people pull up stats
And I was
just
reading,
to suit whatever their actual point of view or argument is.
So I was reading something, Mark, that you were saying there as well about the kind of club Celtic kind of drifting off the last couple of weeks. And the exact same thing happened with Yokohama. The club started drifting on, and they were thinking that, and it wasn't, he was actually in talks with AIK Athens as well as Celtic that time. And Athens was practically nearly a done deal until Celtic actually came in for him.
Well,
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't
no,
know
I was
that.
reading
Well,
it. It was the fella. What's his name? Mark Dan.
Horowitz.
Yeah, that was saying it. He was talking there in some Australian. He said it doesn't surprise him like that Ange left. He normally stays about 2.5 years at the club, and lo and behold, he signs a 2.5 year deal with Spurs with an option of a third. You know, that's how long he kind of. I think that's the modern manager as well, Mickey. Ain't this? You know, it's no kind of long-term project for Manchester in the clubs anymore, really, is there?
Yeah, but like I says, I would still like to thinking the romantic of football, that there is managers out there that genuinely want to go to a club and genuinely just make it a home, and become a club legend.
Aye.
The word legends threw about too much in football these days, anyway. For one,
what pissed me off. Do you know, like what you're saying there, Mickey? That's like kept going on, Mark, about the next step. You know, I mean, we're looking to do this, we're looking to do that, and first sign of a sniff, he's gone. You know, that's what kind of really got to me.
JFP says that Ange shafted me, which he's 100% right. Celtic have got to start basing themselves on European performances, and especially in the second season with Ange, he got given everything he wanted. He had the squad that he wanted, and we still got humped too. Like he says, when like Martin O'Neill went into Europe, got with a final. Gordon Strachan in Europe, out the group stages twice. Since I think Neil Lennon, he got out the group once as well. So since Neil Lennon in 2012, we've never ever did nothing in Europe. That's nearly 10, 11 years. That's shocking for a club the size of Celtic.
See that, Andy, would you hang doors for 30 quid a pop and someone offered you 50 quid a pop, you'd be offering us as well. See, that's right. You can't compare football to hanging doors or working in a building site. It's a totally different job. It's a totally different environment, totally different world. Do you know what I mean? You can't compare like for like. And, well, Scott Brown turned down more money for the pub league. James Forrest turned down more money for the pub league. Cal McGregor turned down more money for the pub league. So so people turn down these kind of moves. But you see people.
I don't think you're going to see a builder talking about hanging a door and his love for hanging the door.
You know, I don't know. What's a big building company? Advance walking about with his advance fleece on, pumping his chest every time he does something right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What people realise as well, and this is what annoys me and Jonas as well when it comes to money, and money's ruined football, right? If somebody he's out £30, £50, right? See if somebody's on 70 grand a week or somebody's on 50 grand a week, that extra 20 grand's nothing there.
You'll go on tax anyway, wouldn't it?
No, I mean, so £30 to £50 is probably a bit of difference, but 30 grand to 50 grand isn't it?
No, yeah, I totally get what Michael's in there, right? See, I understand the point of view that boy's trying to make. That works in our world where we all have to work for a living, but not in football, because even if because it doesn't matter what level of football you're at in the top league in any country, you're still on thousands. Okay, it's maybe the difference between tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands, but that person's not going to be short of money regardless of where they are. Whereas if someone says to me, I work for a company, a painter's company, right? If another company then approached me and said, we'll give you $5,000 a year more, then I would jump ship because it makes a difference to me. Whereas in football terms, it's all relative, whether you're on $100,000 a week or $50,000 a week. You're no sure either way. So
how long have you worked with him for, Jonas?
9 years.
Right, you've been there 9 years, right? Say somebody said, Jonas, why come work for us for an extra 10 grand a year? But 6 months, maybe 12 months, you'll know of a job. What you got? Do you know what I mean? What you going to say?
Nah, I would stay where I was because at the end
Aye.
of the day, you would be on bigger money for a year, but then you're out of job come the end of the year. So
Aye.
yeah, it's not always gaining.
Eddie Williams is saying Spurs have 8 managers in the last 10 years. Some of them a lot bigger names. I actually think he's taking a big risk on down.
Aye,
A
100%.
risk.
Aye.
A risk's an understatement of the year. If Antonio Conte and Jose Mourinho couldn't do anything at that football club, then how naive does Ange think he is?
And plus as well, Mickey, you have no choice in the players you buy down there. You know what I mean? I think Conte got two signings of the players he wanted. The rest of them were just kind of. It was the two fellas that played in Italy.
What I don't understand, right, is Daniel Levy's notoriously tight-fisted, right? And remember Mourinho came out and said that I wanted to sign so and so, but I never got him because they want to pay an extra $5 million, and Conte said the same, right? How does Ange just suddenly think that there's been world-class managers that went before him that won Champions League? Mourinho's one of the greatest of all time, regardless of what your opinion of the boy is. He's won Champions League. He's won the treble in Serie A. He's won the Champions League with Porto. He's won it with Inter, right? He's won the Premier League. He's won the Europa Conference League. He's won the Europa League. Does Ange just think that he's going to swan down there and all of a sudden Daniel Levy's going to say, "Oh, there's a blank cheque, but get who you want," when he's no trusted world-class managers with unlimited finances? So I don't. You know what I mean?
Probably. Well, there's no success is guaranteed, Jonas, but the likes of Mourinho and Conte, if you back them and give them the money and stuff like that, they'll bring you success. They've got a proven track record there. I mean, what's Ange's track record?
And that Tottenham team's threw 2 managers under the bus as well. And the problem he's got, see, when you go down to England, right? It's not like here, where the players aren't on that big wages. All the guys are on hundreds of thousands a week, and the club will always throw the manager under the bus before the players get carpeted, because the club's paid millions of pounds to get their players. So if they decide down tools and don't fancy it, guess who pays for their job? It's not the players.
Jonas, I read a thing a while back that Harry Kane got like an input on who Spurs are signing.
That's what I mean. So you're not in control, eh? You know what I mean? A lot of these people have got clauses in their contracts saying that they're part of deciding what players come in and that. And if the manager if it doesn't suit the manager's system, but then one of the club captain goes to the chairman, well, I thought in my contract I'm going to have to say on signings, then you're up against it straight away. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's just cut and dry.
Can you imagine back in the day at Arsenal or Man United, Arsene Wenger or Alex Ferguson, somebody having a clause in their contract, but even like Roy Keane or that, or David Beckham or that, whenever Ferguson needs to sign somebody, you need to ask them first if they think it's all right.
I know.
Fuck off. God, I mean, that would be a good one, like
that was one of the biggest problems in Spurs over the years. Was what I heard was Harry Kane.
Yeah, but the thing is as well, Spurs and Daniel Levy's not a big spender. That stadium's cost them hundreds of millions. So they notoriously don't go out and buy.
So look how long it took Arsenal to bounce back, Jonas, after they.
The only thing that might be in Spurs' favour this year is if they do sell Harry Kane for 100-odd million or whatever, then Ange's maybe been told, right, we've got a big drop coming in, so you have got a wee bit more leeway than maybe previous managers. But like I say, it just rings alarm bells because you didn't trust Mourinho and Conte with like that sort of money. You know what I mean? So, well, look at Pochettino. Pochettino's another one that got them to the Champions League final. He's a much bigger manager than Ange.
He wouldn't go back there. He wouldn't go back there because he
turned it down, didn't he? Again,
to go to Chelsea, but he still wasn't given a blank checkbook either.
No, sure, he was on a tight dead, Jonas, wasn't he? Pochettino that time, wasn't he? He was on kind of a nearly shoestring budget, him.
Aye,
he did well with the players he had.
Ex-Spurs managers. Via Bawz is still out of job. He's unemployed.
Mm-hmm. Well, he got the sack over in Cham. He wanted
His stocks crashed into it. Everybody kind of thought he was going to become as a manager.
He did, yeah. But look at Chelsea wronged him, Mark. Like they have done a lot of managers. You know what I mean? You know, I think Potter's a great coach, but that Chelsea project this season, Jonas, was just a shambles.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Yeah.
Chelsea, you don't sack Thomas Tuchel and bring in Graham Potter. I don't care what anybody says at any level at club. That's just nonsense. And it was just an ego trip from that boy that took over Chelsea. Oh, I want to put my own stamp on it, so I'm going to get rid of who's there. No, look at Chelsea, absolutely turmoil. Look at the amount of money they're paying players. They spent 600 million between January and
The best thing I heard him saying, Jonas, was that fella, what's his name, Broadley or something, is it? Broadley, is it?
Bowley, yeah.
Bowley, when he said, we'll get the money back when we win the Champions League next season. And the Sky Sports journalists had to tell him that you have to qualify for the Champions League.
That's what I mean. They're not going to.
Oh, Chelsea were going to be the Champions League.
He just thought they were going to get it right away.
They spent hundreds of millions and put boys on 10-year contracts and that, banking on them becoming successful. What happens if these boys don't cut it? Then you're stuck with a boy on an 8-year deal on 200, 300 grand a week. It's up. Chelsea are one of the worst run clubs in England since what happened since Abramovich left that job. And look at the state they're in. So that just goes back to the money. That certainly doesn't fix anything because they didn't even finish. They finished just barely in the top 10 or something, and they spent over $500 million in 6 months. So it's just nonsense.
It's disgusting what's going down there, Mark, with the money.
Aye.
You know? Like you look at
there's nothing we can do to change
I know
it. But that's just the way it is.
You look at Luton there, right? Their stadium is in the middle of an estate, right? It holds 10,000, right? They can't, supposedly, at the moment, they can't play their first 5 games at home because the stadium isn't up to Premier League standards. You know, they'll have to spend money. You know, I know they'll get money now, Mike, to do that. But, you know, it's just ridiculous down there. They probably don't have hope next season that Premier League.
No. They could probably break records of kind of losing games and goals conceded and all that, probably, Paul. But they've earned the right to be there.
Oh, definitely.
Is this Luton you're talking about?
Luton,
Jonas supports them.
Do you?
Very good.
Oh, do you know like them? No.
Is that right,
I'm not a fan of them, no.
No,
I don't see the only thing I can mind of Luton. See, years ago, they were the very first team to bring in an artificial pitch, and it was worse than Livingston. Kenilworth Road. I'm sure that was what their ground.
That's where they still are at Kenilworth Road.
They're still there, aye, Mikey. Oh, well, honestly, go on YouTube and look up all videos of Kenilworth Road when they did this artificial pitch. It was absolute, honest to God, man. It was worse than the daft hockey carpet things you used to get in school and stuff.
You're walking at the back of people's houses, Mark, to get into the stadium. Do you know what I mean?
There was their pitch, and then I'm sure Millwall wrecked the place one night.
That sounds about right for Millwall.
I'm sure that it was like a big match. Like they were ripping up seats and flinging them onto the pitch and everything. Man, that's the only things I've ever known Luton to do in football.
Oldham's Boundary Park was worse. I never saw that stadium. No.
That was back then, man. The stadium. I mean, this is me showing my age again, but honestly, see some of the stadiums back then, lads. See like the amount of women and kids that go to games now. See back in the days, women and kids when they went to the mini games.
What was Celtic Park back in the day, Mark? What was that, right?
Oh, it was a shithole.
Yeah,
it really was. I mean, it was just the old terraces, Paul. You know what I mean? There were seats in the old, like the main stand, but the rest of it, aye. But I mean, every stadium was the same. It wasn't as if fair dues, Rangers had spent a lot of money on their stadium after the Ibrox disaster and stuff like that. But Celtic Park wasn't any worse or better than any other kind of team at our level at the time. Do you know what I mean? Every ground was the exact same. Even down in England, the stadiums down in England were absolute shitholes. They had big fences up and everything so that the fans couldn't go into the park. They were all cooked in. The pitch was like inside a WWF cage kind of hanging that. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And as it's only, I mean, me and Mikey were talking about this earlier on. We were saying about Celtic win the European Cup and stuff like that. And we're never going to. Celtic will never win the European Cup, the Champions League, whatever you want to call it. Could we win the Europa League or the Conference League? Probably, aye.
Have a good run, Mark.
Aye. We should be getting a good run in Europe at that level.
Yeah,
But things like that. But Oh, there I've lost my train of thought on that.
You know, you
But
have
see,
to be,
but that's what I was saying. See, for the games became like global, this kind of big global monster with all the money involved, and the way the English games affecting the game like across the world. Really, as the money in that, it's a totally different thing altogether for football back in the day, kind of thing. And Celtic, they now are they're one of the top best run clubs in Europe. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we've not got any serious debt. We've stadiums, yours. We've got the season ticket sales. We've got money. Blah blah blah. Celtic is one of the best run clubs in Europe, without a doubt.
Mark, do you think there was a lot of, actually, when you're on about season tickets, there was a lot of kind of posts on Twitter saying, do you think that's why they didn't kind of put an extension on the season tickets this year? No,
I
that
think
they
so. I
didn't
think it
want
must
on,
have been. Aye, I think it was. Aye.
you know, but I think as well, though, the Celtic fans, Mark, are faithful through and through. They'll buy the season tickets, I think, no matter what, would they? Or has there been season tickets that they were left over and people didn't?
There probably would have been fans. See, if it came out that Ange was leaving, there probably would have been a few fans that would have said, I'm not renewing. I'm not renewing and that. But we've got a waiting list. It doesn't matter. But it wouldn't have been any great numbers, I wouldn't imagine.
You know what the best thing about this team, Mark? I'm not saying the best thing about Ange leaving is no one's blaming the board. You know what I mean? No one is coming out.
No.
Blaming the board. Be like, supposedly we offered him a record transfer fees, transfer market fee, Mickey, 35 million for new players. I mean, a lot of Celtic managers don't even get near that kind of transfer kissy.
No, that's what I mean. He was backed, and like I says, I go back to Europe because that's where you want to start making progress into. Never mind, I kind of people say bread and butter's the league, blah blah blah, fine. But you also want to do well in Europe as well, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Like he says, when you're playing, like he says, I was crossing obviously Leipzig this year and that, and other than Joe Hart making that mistake, they put up a decent. But half the games you're watching behind the sofa. No, what I mean, because you're that because you can't what's coming, eh? Like a lot of people say, well, it's great to play in venues like the Bernabeu and this, that, and next thing. Is it? But it's no good to get pumped 5-6 at the time either. Like,
no, aye. Sorry,
like I know
season playing these big fancy teams, but you're wanting at least to show up a bit.
I know, like sometimes, Mark, Neil Lennon's game wasn't pretty to watch in Champions League, but he got us results in the Champions League, didn't he? You know.
But that's the thing, Paul. Like, we said it under Brendan Rodgers. We said it under. We've said it under Ange. We can. Celtic haven't get the players to just go out there and go toe to toe with these massive teams in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I keep saying it. Cal McGregor at CDM's just it's. See, I mean, people have said Rodgers isn't coming back, but that would have been one of the good things of Rodgers coming back. With the problem back to the 4-2-3-1, and we'd have saw the best of McGregor again with a proper CDM in beside him.
Mm-hmm.
well, that's what, like going back to like Celtic in Europe and that. Like when I used to like say back in the early 2000s when you used to play against Bayern Munich and Valencia and Barcelona and Milan and that. If you went away with a draw back then, you were disappointed at Parkhead. Eh? Now it's all about just Celtic Park's a great place to play football. The atmosphere is great. I mean, you're getting pumped all the time, like, but at least the away players are enjoying playing. Eh?
Birthday care pish.
You know what I mean?
I hate that, Mike. I've said it. Even you were talking about like Ronaldinho when you get applauded off the park at Celtic Park. I can remember that time of year in Iniesta. I was raging at that. Raging, man.
That was my first experience at, like, I think it was 2004 Barcelona, and we won the game, 1-0, and Ronaldinho got subbed, and the fans were clapping him off the pitch, and I was obviously really young at the time, and I was genuinely confused at what was going on. You know what I mean? Like, I want the stadium on European nights and that, and against other clubs. I want it to be like River Plate and Boca Juniors and
the Turkish teams in that.
Yeah, you want them. You didn't want players coming because they enjoy playing there. You want to hear the fear factor in the ground.
Aye.
Unless I'm just a dinosaur when it comes to that.
No,
I never forget. Let's go back a while now. Galatasaray when they were a big team in the Champions League.
I was telling Mikey
United,
about that. I just watched a video on Twitter about that the other day, Paul.
remember that, Mark? By Welcome to
Aye.
Hell, the fireworks,
Aye.
and everything. You know,
The Polish attacked Cantona and Peter
And
Schmeichel was getting
that-
poured into the Polish and stuff like that.
the year after that, Mark, we played Galatasaray here in Bishopstown, Cork City, in the I think it wasn't called the Europa League then. It was called, what was it called back
UEFA
before
Cup,
that?
UEFA Cup.
The UEFA Cup.
Aye.
We played Galatasaray in those figures, and they were the exact same. There was about 5,000 Galatasaray fans walking on the main road with all their red flares, and you know what I mean. That's atmosphere.
Aye. I know that. Oh, that it's like it's like right. We've just beat you 6-0, but they're a wee pat in the heat because your stadium's nice and you've got loud fans. I can't go that pish, man.
But that's what you hear all the time. Like, and it's always broadcast in the press and people making YouTube videos and that fit. Like ex-players, like top players and current players, like Modric. I said after the game that it's in the best atmosphere he's ever played in. It would be when you just went and pumped you 4 or 3 or whatever it was. I mean, that'd be great. Playing in 60,000 fans and you win 3-0. I'd be laughing as well. Know what I mean? I just didn't understand this narrative that Celtic fans have got now regarding like European nights and the atmosphere. The atmosphere is outstanding, probably the best in Europe on European nights, but sometimes for the wrong reasons.
Aye. Because the atmosphere's the same every European game, but the results don't go worldwide. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can intimidate your love for your club, and you don't need rage or anger to put the opponent off, and that's exactly it. Like Mark, ain't it? The atmosphere, you know. I just want to ask Jonas about this kit deal. I think with Era, Jonas, the Italian manufacturer that she signed. It's supposedly your biggest one in your history.
Yeah, it's the biggest deal in the club's history, and obviously, see, for as far as I'm concerned, I'm 34 now. I don't really buy the replica kits unless I wear them for the gym or whatever. I know, like, kids usually wear them, and there's certain people. I'm not that hung up on it. I'm just more hung up on the fact that whatever makes the club the most money, then sign the contract. You know what I mean? Whether it was Era or Macron or Hummel or whoever was Nike, Adidas, whoever were giving us the biggest money. And it's a 4-year deal to 2027 or whatever. That's the biggest deal in the club's history, and that's the best deal we got offered. Then go for it. You know what I mean?
And it's good as well.
Just after being relegated to to get like a rise in your sponsorship. You expecting are you expecting an immediate bounce back, Jonas?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, with the obviously with the way that the playoff went yesterday, I was sort of wanting Ross County not to get relegated purely because their chairman always basically spends to get them out at the first time asking. So with the fact that they never went down, I think Partick Thistle's team will get decimated now because a lot of their sort of better players they'll get picked apart. So we get there as long as we get the recruitment right, there isn't anything for us to fear in that league when you look at it, like, you know what I mean?
You quite happy with manager going forward, aye?
Yeah, because we needed stability. You can't chop and change. I mean, he was our third manager this season, you know what I mean? So if we got rid of him, then at this moment in time, we weren't going to be able to attract anybody more high profile, the situation we were in. So I'm quite happy he's been given the chance. And he's also been told that he's getting to oversee all the recruitment. All the recruitment team have been let go. There's no director of football influencing signing. He'll get the players that he wants to get in, and that's what we need.
I don't think, Brian, you could say Jim Goodwin's reward for failure. I think it's the problems have started there before Goodwin came in.
Yeah, I know. He came in. He came in.
Late. Goodwin came in. Do you always want this?
He came in with a January transfer window as well, so he was forced to work with what he had there. You know what I mean? So it's not like he assembled the team. So no, it's not his. He's got to obviously shoulder a wee bit of the blame because at the end of the day, he was the man that when it was mathematically happened.
I think one player you'd be happy to get rid of would be Bressie, the goalkeeper.
Oh, but I know.
You didn't like him on Twitter, didn't you?
The thing is, as well, like, I'm not genuinely attacking the guy just for the sake of it. Like, he literally has cost us north of 15 points this year.
Mark, I thought he stole a bird off him the way he was going to go.
Mate, tell you one thing.
This fella.
Mate, see if he'd made enough saves to keep us in the league, he'd steal a bird off me eye once, because that's the least of my worries. You know what I mean? I'm not bothered about that.
Just keep the boy out the net. But I'm honestly convinced the boy doesn't have arms, and he just tucks his like his sides into his goalkeeping gloves. I mean, like I'm sure his
Yeah, man,
arms are a hologram.
I seen some of the goals he was letting in. Like, Jesus, man, they're bad. Like,
Oh, don't you start. We'll bring up some of the goals Toby's let in.
Oh man, I never forget that one
But-
down in Cork City. Why, Jesus Christ, man!
I said
But
that.
the thing
But
is-
I said this.
But his contract is up now.
How long ago, Mark, did I say that told the guy that I said he's never going to, after watching him in the Youth Champions League,
He was
he's never ever going to make it like, yeah.
Was it Real Madrid he played? And sort of
But-
2 or 3 goals were absolute. I could have probably saved him still with my crutches. Do you know what I mean?
No, I still have a bit of hope for him. It's just a pity that his contract is up now, June with Cork City. And
It was only a 6 months.
loan, yeah,
Aye,
but he freaking tore. But it was actually supposed to be a really bad groin injury that he
Is that Connor Hazard? Is he out of contract? He's out of contract.
he's on contract as well, Mark. Yeah, he's
Not
on
good enough
contract.
either. I mean, none of our goalkeepers
Nah,
currently at Celtic are good enough to be Celtic's number one. None of them.
I'd agree
Only-
with that.
Only Segrist is good enough for backup. The rest of them are no good enough to be number one. Joe Hart save percentage I'm convinced is worse than Barkas. I can't remember like other than
I
one
think
decent save like that.
I think we
Jesus.
need to be looking like. Geez, he done us a great thing when he came in, like experience wise, and he put last season was great with him, but we could fall in the same situation, Mark, with Rangers with Alan McGregor, like not able to make those big saves anymore, getting too old for the game and too slow for the way we play.
There's been a lot of goals we've conceded, and it's just you can tell that Joe Hart's just no really got it, man. He's just get too slow at getting down, and I mean, think about it. Right? How many actual good saves can you remember Joe Hart making for us?
No many. People have got to be honest. People have got to get over the name in the England. He's not been in England international for many a year. He's been, like I said, he's came to Celtic. He did no bad. He steadied the ship when we were needing a goalkeeper. But that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
He's done his job. He's done his job.
Yeah.
His first season, I thought he was doing well for us. This season, he's been a bit hit and miss. And towards the end of the season,
he was so good this season, Mark, because of Starfelt and Vickers there, boy. And you saw how disorganised he was without Carter Vickers in that back line.
Aye, but even at that, Paul, even no matter who's in front of him, it's still basic saves that he's kind of no making. Aye,
I'd love a goalkeeper that just comes and claims the bar.
Aye,
May punching. See the relief having a goalkeeper when you're playing at my level. You've got a goalkeeper that can come and get the bar for a corner or a free kick and take the pressure off the defence. It's just I can't remember the last time we had a goalkeeper that did that.
Mm-hmm. But when Joe Hart then did come out for the ball making 9 times out of 10, he actually got it. You know what I mean? He just doesn't do it often enough for me. You know?
That game Scott Bain was playing, he came out for the ball more times than Hart has all season.
And then he made a typical Scott Bain blunder, and everyone's going, fuck that, now Scott Bain's not good enough, get rid of it.
If the fans are honest, like it says, the goalkeeping position does need addressed. They would need a better goalkeeper for going into next season.
Yeah, well, hopefully, with the new manager coming in, and if we have a young squad, he might be looking at a young keeper. Joe Hart,
obviously, we're talking about United goalkeeping situation and that, but obviously Celtic isn't as bad as United's, but it's still no great. Like that's how I brought it up there, because I think a lot of people look at, again, it's about the name of Joe Hart, and it's a bit of snobbery regarding like, oh, it's Joe Hart we've got in goal. A lot of the goals that went in, like even against Rangers in the game, I think it was when Tavernier, we still won 3-2, but Tavernier's free kick, maybe saving that, give the guy credit. But the guy's header, it went right down the middle of the goal. I lost count how many times a bar went near enough down the middle and it's went in. And see if that was Barkas or Bain or Segrist, they'd be slaughtered. But because it was Joe Hart, it was, it's all right. It's Joe. It's Joe Hart. They need to get past that narrative of Joe Hart. Like he says, he's no good enough to be Celtic number one.
I was a bit surprised as well that Barkas just kind of get let go.
Like, surely they could have got a fee. Like, and
Well,
again,
why were Utrecht saying he couldn't afford them? But is it his wages that he couldn't afford?
God knows, but they could afford them now because he's free.
Aye, well, that was the thing. Aye, I just can't really get my head around that one. Unless he's paying, maybe his pay after just been buttons. Maybe he's said to her, I'm not caring what you give me, just give me whatever you're giving me, I get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? It could have maybe been £500,000 of pay off, just that's all I want, give me, I'm out of here. Because he will get snapped up, Mikey, won't he?
Yeah, I was going to say, he'll go back to probably. He'll go to a Greek club or something. He'll go back to AK Athens or something. But Jonas, what do you think of Segrist in that parade and all these medals and that? A bit hard necked, no?
That is a bit hard necked considering he's not played, is he?
You know what I mean? It was just like because obviously Stephen Jonas a bit United and that, and obviously he's left to come to Celtic, and he said that he was going to be challenging, obviously, but I think he's played like 2 or 3 games and he's got 3 medals. I thought it was a bit hard necked, like.
They'll just be the dingy plastic medals that they give the flipping chefs and I think. Come on,
The Jimmy Fix-It medal, huh?
The less said about the Jim will fix it saga, the better. That's an entirely other podcast, that is it?
You know, it's like you don't know what's been going on here the last couple of weeks with this podcast.
So who would you get in, Mikey? You're fucking all these players, you know, the world and that. Who would you get in for a goalkeeper? Maybe a realistic kind of thing, know what I mean? Navas, he's in a free now, isn't he?
Keylor Navas, he's on fucking. He was on £250,000 a week. You know what I mean? No, I mean.
But even at Nottingham Forest.
Yep. Well, Nottingham. Jonas will tell you, Nottingham Forest probably had one of the highest wage budgets in the Premier League last season.
Aye, because they signed about 212 players.
They were paying Jesse Lingard. They paid Jesse Lingard 115 grand a week for a season when they one assist and no goals or something. You know what I mean?
They've let him go, haven't they? He's one of the ones they've let go. Aye.
Yeah, that guy.
No wonder
that
is joking to get that off here.
That's a great shout. The Dynamo's Zagreb goalkeeper Livakovic.
He's a good.
Yeah, he's a great goalkeeper. Him like, but I don't know if they would get him like Dynamo's Zagreb are a massive club like.
And a lot of they boys, they're not like the sort of boys that'll just jump ship for dough. A lot of them are, and like I say, that he, to be fair, that goalkeeper's probably that good that he could go to anybody out with probably the likes of your Allisons and your Edersons level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Courtois level skin.
I don't know if Celtic have got the bottle to say to Joe Hart. Maybe the new manager will, but I don't reckon if they've got the bottle to say you're no good enough, mate. Unless they genuinely think he's good enough to lead us next season. But I think it's going to be a major error on Celtic if they didn't change the number one.
It's all kind of falling down as well. Kind of the Stevie Woods as well, isn't it? To tell the next manager we need to be recruiting a new goalkeeper, Mark, is it?
But Paul, sorry.
Like Stevie Woods, like it would have fallen down to him, like if when the new manager comes in and they're debriefing the squad and Stevie Woods going through the goalkeepers and stuff, you know?
Any new manager's obviously got to consult Stevie Woods. I mean, he's one of the best goalkeeping coaches in the game.
It's like giving Bain a new contract as well, like surprised everyone, you know.
Unless
stick Champions League to make
that'll be to meet the homegrown player quota.
I personally think it has something. I think Segrist will be away at the end of the season. One, he's no performing, and 2. You can't hate goalkeepers that are backup that are that injury prone. So,
but I think it's a lot to do with the homegrown thing. Plus, as well, you need to name two sub-keepers on your bench in Europe, didn't you?
Yeah.
Since that Bain, he'll maybe not even be number 2 next season. He'll just be that wee number that pops up every European game to be the third guy.
He seems to be happy with that, Mark. Don't he? He's on a good wage. He's not going to get that nowhere else. I think at this stage of his career, you know. You can't really blame Scott Bain, can you? It's Celtic offering him the deal. Do you know what I mean?
I was thinking of other goalkeepers as well. What about the boy at Liverpool that's been told that he's allowed to leave? That Kelleher or his name?
What did I hear? Burnley are looking at him.
Is that the Irish guy, Paul?
Yeah, Caoimhín Kelleher.
He's been told that he's got to. He's been told that he's got to leave. 1, for his Irish future, and two, well, he's never going to. Allison's there forever, so
Yeah.
he's never going to be a number one. But
I
Is
think
he known serious go,
I think
Is
he's
he
too
known
good.
serious money?
He would be. No, I think Mark he would be. No, yeah, I think he would be a good money. You
what
know,
about the boy that got to Southampton? That is it Bazunu?
and Zunu, I love him, but really brilliant goalkeeper. But
I've
really,
seen this to
I
Mark.
Kelleher.
I've said this to Mark, and I think the last 6 months, because obviously Joe Hart, like I can see through him as he's finished. That again, that's my opinion. Why, like Celtic? Obviously, they've got money in that, and they're going to hit player sales again. They're going to need to. Sometimes they're going to need to go hard on. Like I say, it's one of the most important positions on the pitch. They might just need to pay big money to get the top goalkeeper, because they paid $4.5 million for Barkas based on performances against us in Europe. It's never worked out. They've bought Joe Hart in to steady the ship because he's, again, previous
Like
records.
Southampton just got relegated. Like they
Yeah,
paid 19
10
million
million.
for Bazunu. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I think I don't know, would he be out of our price range? I say, would they be expecting a bit more for him? You know,
And then-
maybe 10, 12.
And then Rebel
You know?
just be on the chat that Kelleher's on 6 figures a week. If he's on 6 figures a week, then the football world's dead. It's gone. Like,
Well, there's a mistake in Kelleher as well, though, and there's big mistakes in him. Do you know, like,
I mean, if he's on 100 grand a week, then the world's that we might as well just call it a day, and then that's
I'm sure I've read that bit as well, Mikey.
he is, Mark. He is, yeah. He's on about 110, 130, 140, something like that. He's on big money, boy. You know,
Tells you that, innit?
you know, he's on big money.
And
Like,
see, I mean, we talk about the way the English game's kind of killing the game across Europe and that, but I mean that's a prime example. A young player, he's hardly played a game of football, and he's rocking about getting over 100 grand a week.
no wonder they're going off the walls, Mark. Do you know what I mean? No wonder these young players are going off the walls.
Unless he stays in England, where else is he going to go that he's going to get anywhere near that? As a young goalkeeper that's with no experience or nothing like that. I mean, I was reading a thing the other day now, and now I know the stuff with the teams that are getting relegated and stuff like that. It's a bit different, but it's in the next couple of weeks, over this transfer window, a championship team will sign somebody and give them 100 grand wages for the first time. I mean, the English second division is now becoming probably the second richest league in the world.
Well,
That's
the richest game in world football is the playoff final, is it?
Aye.
And the thing is, if you get relegated from the Premier League, your parachute payment's like 180 million. So, like, what chance have you got? You know what I mean?
You get it for 2 years or something like that, isn't it? If you don't get promoted straight back up.
We got relegated from the Premier League, and I think we got 300,000 or something as our parachute payment.
Jesus Christ, you're honest, right?
Chicken feed, is it? You know what I mean?
Aye. Is there any way that you can rein that back? I mean, there isn't.
Unless the only thing that can happen there, unless the FA themselves bring in price caps, but they're not going to do that because they want to attract the players that come into the league.
That's it, Paul. Take that. No, but just the league would take that to court and lost that. That would be like a kind of sort of. There's a word for it, like stopping competition. Or, do you get what I mean? You're kind of curtailing competition.
But look what it's doing to the English national team then, though. Do you know what I mean? There's no English players getting in these teams anymore, bar the few. Do you know what I mean? There's. Can you really say there's an upcoming England star like there was in the 80s, the 90s? You know?
Mm.
But that's the basic.
I was looking at that Bazunu there, obviously in Southampton,
But Mikey.
No, I was just saying that I was looking at Southampton's squad, obviously with them just getting relegated.
Right.
You see that Elanusi got released today.
Aye. 80 grand a week he was on with them too.
Today, Mike, was it? He got released today, was he?
Well, that's the. Well, I think this is the kind of official end of the season, Paul. And for the last couple of days, I've started announcing who's staying at clubs and who's going.
Yeah, so
Would you take him back?
I thought he was really good at Celtic.
Aye, I liked him.
I thought he was really good, Elanusi.
He would be a bad shot, Mark, if a bad is going. Do you know what I mean?
Aye,
I I mean,
You know,
Abada's going to go for a decent fee. And
So you would actually see his celebrations there actually with the cup there. He was the one kind of going, couldn't you, Abada? You know?
yeah. Again, he's no my cup of tea, and again, a lot of people are different and think that the sun shines out his arse. But like I said, I just think in the big games, his arse seems to collapse. Like I say, he's
Well,
a very like,
right? If we could get a big fee for a player that's not getting in our first team, I'll take it like a shot.
yeah.
You know?
But just no, it was just obviously it's going to see the LNC was released at only 28 years of age. I mean, he was. I think the fans well. I think the fans actually took to him at Celtic as well, considering like it says. But like it says, if you were letting if Abada was going for a decent fee, I didn't think Elyounoussi would be too bad a replacement for him. So
The question is, though, is he willing to take that pay cut that he was on in Southampton? I say, would he?
that's
But
up
the
to
thing
them,
about it is, he's not got a club, Paul. What's he got to be his best offer?
Mm-hmm.
Celtic offer him 25 grand a week's better than sitting getting nothing.
Yeah, plus some bonuses in Europe.
That's our problem, and you spoke numerous times on the contract, sorry, in the podcast, is we need to push the boat a little bit further with our contracts. You know,
Well,
and,
yeah.
like he says, and players remember when we're in the Champions League, they get wins, draws, whatever. They're also on bonus in their games as well.
Aye.
And that all adds to your wages as well.
yeah, it does, yeah.
They're Dembele free. Me and Mikey were talking about him yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
If Kyogo went to Spurs, would you take Dembele back and a free? 100 million percent.
How and no Celtic fan can turn around to me and say, "Oh, I wouldn't have Mr. Dembele at the club," because if they are, then they didn't know nothing about football.
Do you know what? He's the only player since leaving Celtic kept in touch with the Celtic fans through his media posts when Celtic win and stuff like that. You know, he always put up kind of wind up the Rangers fans on his Twitter post. I said that to you, Mac. He'd be the one striker I would love to see with the amount of chances we create. I'd love to see Dembele there.
Yeah, but he's proven as well. He scored goals in the Champions League for Celtic. That's why it was kind of a joke thing that I put up on the forum earlier. Because
I'm just amazed no one has took the chance down in England at it. I'm just amazed at it, like, you know.
Well, that's
really,
what I mean. Rodgers' first signing at Celtic was Moussa Dembele, was it? So I was obviously behind it because obviously Dembele's been released. I put a tongue-in-cheek comment on the forum.
What was that deal then, Mark? That was like, what was it? We went in as a homegrown player fee or something like that, was it all?
No, because it was like a UK cross-border deal. If it went to England, if it went to another English team, it would have went to a tribunal because of his age. And a tribunal would have probably said, "Oh, you're Fulham." What were they talking about at the time, Mikey? It was about 8 million, wasn't it? They were kind of talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And because it was a UK transfer, Paul, it doesn't come under that. It's classed as a cross-border transfer. So he's leaving one FA to join another. So we only pay like a development fee. So we're going for like £500,000. Like Brian said if Kyogo goes to Spurs, he's moving to London.
You better hear a big wallet then, because he's going to be expensive for a house down there like this. So. But that's what I mean. Fans will need to realise as well. Like he says, with Ange going there, like there's a high chance that I think Kyogo will go. And that's what I understand. Like Moussa Dembele is going to be on a massive wage, but if Kyogo goes for what I think would be 25, 30 million, especially with how long left in his deal, how Nogi, like somebody like Moussa Dembele, who's free is in no transfer fee, and give him a bigger sign-on fee, a few million and whatever. Why no do that? I didn't see what the problem is with that, because you're getting somebody that's a proven goal scorer in Europe. And he's did it in the league before. I just didn't see any negative of signing somebody like that.
Oh, I agree with that.
You know,
I keep saying it. The transfer fees don't matter really. It's the wages you offer players. You know, I mean, there we get Matt O'Reilly because of kind of situation, his contract and stuff like that. The way we get Dembele, things like that, and that's what even. Look about the kind of, I mean, there's quality players out there that are available that Celtic could afford if they upped their wage packet a wee bit. There's no doubt about it that would improve the team.
But then that's when Celtic will need to start changing as well their ways. Otherwise, they're not going to get the managers that they're going to want to pull into the club, because managers will want a certain player. And unless Celtic start saying, right, well, or they just keep saying no, they're going to just need to accept mediocrity. I mean, if the fact, like it says, trebles and everything's great, and I'm not one of these Celtic fans that expect just to win everything, but I just want to see the club just grow and just maybe get third in the Champions League. Hey, maybe a decent run in the Europa League, or can I just want to just see some form of improvement in Europe?
But wasn't that what Genk did, Jonas? Wanted that they kept qualifying for the Champions League. They started restructuring their wage budget as the kind of years went by, and that's how they kind of came in the Champions League, progressing every year, weren't it?
Yeah, well, the thing is as well, you can change your wage structure on the basis that if you're qualifying for Europe on a regular basis.
Right, this all falls, though, Mark, back on the day of Peter Lowell being chairman, Mark, not invested in the club for these Champions League when he was CEO. In this, we could wage budget now if we did progress in Europe all these years. Like, Celtic should be not getting knocked out of the freaking Champions League in round 2 and round 3 at all.
It's just. I still maintain, Paul, that when Peter Lowell was CEO, he was just happy to be in front of Rangers, and as long as he was a decision maker, that's all it was ever going to be. But even the way for the Champions League, but the way it's been the last couple of years, and we've spoke about it, the way they both backed Ange, the way Ange said about the way he wanted to take the club, I would like to think that Celtic now still are looking at the bigger picture and saying this isn't. We need to step up a gear and start making a mark in Europe. We need to aim to be a European team, but because let's face it, I mean, it happened to Rangers, right? And fair dues, the money side, put that to the side. But at a certain time back then, Rangers were too big for Scottish football. Do you know what I mean? Because they were just dominating everything because of the money they had, and now the shoes and other fit. And Celtic have probably could become too big to be in Scottish football, but they've got to keep kind of growing the club and making the right decisions and getting into the Champions League, getting runs in Europe and stuff like that. That's what's going to take us to that next level. Do you know what I mean? We can sign all the fancy sponsors we want and stuff like that, and all the brilliant social media stuff, blah, blah, blah. But that's not helping us on the pitch. We need to get the team sorted and make sure that we're going to bring in this new manager and this season in the Champions League, and next season we're going to grow as a team and a club like in the European-wide kind of picture, rather than just keep sticking to as long as we're top dog in Scotland, that's all that matters. Do you know what I mean? The other teams I keep mentioning, like PSG, Bayern, Munich, they just take being top dog in their leagues as normal, sir, and they look at the bigger picture. I mean, PSG spunk billions on trying to win the Champions League and still haven't. Celtic's never going to do that. But realise where our level is. Chase second now and again, we'll be lucky and get a second finish and qualify in the Champions League.
Mark, I don't see any.
Get into that the Europa League. The Europa League every season should be our bare kind of get a good run in the Europa League after Christmas.
Finishing third, realistically, should be the last resort. If we finish second, that's a boast. Everyone would love it. But the minimum mark is to finish third in the group stage, to drop down to the Europa League, and have a good run in the Europa League should be Celtic's ambition. But it just doesn't seem to be there. Like, is that the fault, though, Mark? As what you're saying, does this fall back in the shoulders of the board, not having a director of football, in having these long-term plans in place?
No, but the last 2 seasons, Paul, the blame lies at Ange's feet 100%. I mean, who else? Who else? You can't blame the board. You can't blame Peter Lowell.
I'm saying I'm blaming the board, Mark. No, I'm not blaming the board for that, but I'm blaming the board because a new manager keeps coming, Mark, and we just give him total control of the club. every single time when he leaves, then we're back to square one and not having a director in football. As you said, the system stays the same.
Aye, all right, I get you now. Aye, I've been banging that drum for years, haven't I?
Yeah.
I'm just reading the chat and obviously Bestie's put up with Scottish football will only be a stepping stone for quality players and managers, which I understand what he's saying. I'm not, nobody's disputing that. The problem is it can still be a stepping stone, but you can still perform in Europe. Ajax's wage bill's 10 million a year less than ours.
Aye.
And it was only a few years ago that I think they were in the semi-final of the Champions League. So that's what I mean. Nobody's saying that Celtic are like no stepping stone for the top end players and that, but they can still perform in Europe. You know what I mean? Like with the wages that we're able to offer in the pool that we've got, we should still be performing a lot better than what we're doing on a European scale.
Well, many times have you heard me saying I've not got any problem with the amount of money that we spend. It's the way we spend it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Don't get us right. Right, I mean, you were talking about it earlier on, Mikey, players getting out of the contract and who can go and stuff like that. But and people don't believe that Ange gave the deal an okay, right? Ange did the James McCarthy deal, right? There isn't a Celtic supporter out there that didn't want James McCarthy to come into Celtic and do well. Right, but it's no heart. But it's no happened. But I think he's not on a great wage because a lot of his contract is meant to be performance related, but he's still taking.
But Mark, who's to say we see no manager come in, Mark, and we won't see the best of James McCarthy? You know?
I can't see that.
You know?
I can't see that. No, but I mean, it could happen. But that's. I mean, even down to James Forrest, the wages he's lifting, and he's no what's he putting into the squad and stuff like that.
What's his contract situation? Does he still have another year?
Oh, he's got 2 years. The only players that are out of contract next year is who was it I said to you earlier on, Mikey?
Moy was one.
Moy. No, there was 4 of them. Moy was one, but there was nobody else, Paul, really that really kind of caused any cause for concern. That's what Mikey said earlier. The majority of
long-term contracts, like
Aye. Turnbull's out of contract next summer.
Turnbull,
he'll be away in the summer. You'll be away in this summer, aye.
So that's what I mean. Like again, going back to what I said right at the start of the pod, the bonus that Celtic got is the top players are all under long-term contracts. So, like you say, we're in a good position. We've got Europe. There's, like you say, again, as hard as it is to believe for maybe some Celtic supporters, it's exciting times for Celtic just now, as long as they get the appointment right. So,
because we're in a better place than we were. We were talking this earlier, Mikey. I can't remember Celtic being in a better place than this in my life.
Not winning appointing a new manager, no.
I think that's what scared Eddie Howe, Mark, back in the time, was the size of the rebuild we had to do.
There might have been. Maybe he didn't fancy that. Maybe he didn't fancy the pressure of doing that. But he went into Newcastle and fair dues. He's done a great job down there. But I mean, I've seen this to Mike earlier, right? We got on about when Jock Stein was here and that. But the game's just a totally different game these days because of the worldwide coverage and all the ins and outs, social media. Everybody's on top of everything. But I mean, Celtic, everything considered, in one of the best positions that they've ever been in their full history for where they are, and we've not got a manager. Because most managers, when they go, it's a disaster. But right, and it might be, we all feel we're a bit emotional, a bit angry about Ange leaving, but as Mikey says, think of what you're offering, guys. Look where we are now. The basic building blocks are there for somebody to just come in and take us up to another kind of level again.
I just hope we don't go fucking approaching David Moyes.
No, can't see that.
Yeah.
Definitely can't see that.
You know, fucking hell, like going from the football we're playing and then into his style. Jesus Christ, I'd fucking collapse, I say.
David Moyes would do better for us in Europe than Ange did.
Yeah, I kind of have to give him credit for West Ham, right?
there's no way Moyes would have went out and went toe to toe with teams in Europe that when you were going out classes. Brent Rodgers done the same, and Ange done the same, and it cost us. They're just not getting away from that.
Why do you think? Like, if we can see it, Mark, how do you think? Like, the managers don't see that. Like it's because they don't have another way of playing, or sure, if you got a manager knows how to play defensive football,
it
doesn't really have to be defensive, Mark, does it?
I've not got an answer to that, Paul. I really
exactly. Like I could tell you straight out, like we can't go to toe with Barcelona or PSGs and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? Everyone's, I just really.
I think the Dundee divisions fell asleep.
No, I'm still here.
Mikey's crashed.
But what do you think, Jonas, about like are we too, like myself, Mark and Mickey, are we too stuck up our ass about talking about Celtic in the Champions League, or should we be doing more in the Champions League with the size of Celtic?
You should definitely be looking to improve European performance. That's absolutely beyond questioning that. Look at the likes of some of the teams that you see doing well in the Europa League and the Conference League and stuff like that, getting to the later rounds that are a lot smaller than Celtic. You know what I mean? So there's and Celtic have got the resources to compete at that level. So they need, look at David Moyes. He's got West Ham to the Conference League final and that. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that based on that he should get the Celtic job, but I'm saying that there's absolutely no reason that they can't be doing better in Europe.
I mean, we're talking about that. We're even getting back to Bodo Glimt. As I said, there's no way in the world I ever saw them beating Celtic.
No, I didn't see that coming up.
And especially know the way they did. No, I mean,
they're actually shocked at Mark when
Paul, they were in pre-season. They weren't even in pre-season yet, I don't think. And that boy took them away to some training camp and drilled the life out of them, and they ran as ragged. And I mean, I couldn't even guess how much they're kind of paying players and stuff like that, but it's the kind of results that kind of stick in your craw. I mean, I don't expect with a good few chances against Real Madrid at Celtic Park. Who knows what would have happened if they had made the early chance with Abada? If that had went in, Cal Mack hot the woodwork.
Yeah, but they're kind of once-off matches that go down in history, Mark. Like, I'm on about beating teams that we should be beating.
I mean, Neil Lennon beating Barcelona, nobody expected that. So these shock results can happen. But when you're coming up against these teams, like, as I said, even Bodo Glimt, stuff like that, it's just, we've been beat with some amount of garbage early years in Europe. Our record in Europe for years has been absolutely honking. For what we kind of, what Celtic kind of perceive themselves as a club, and what the fans kind of perceive as is. As I said, it's just a kind of parochialism. We're beating Rangers, that's all that matters.
Because of Celtic winning, and I said this to you, Mark, that Inverness actually won't go into Europe anymore. It's actually Hibs that went into, is it the Conference League, Jonas, or the Europa League they went? The Europa League qualifiers they went into.
Conference League second qualifying stage.
Like, if Aberdeen and Hibs have any, and like they're always complaining about Celtic's revenue mark and stuff like that, try to have a go in Europe at least. You know what I mean? They're getting good money and spend it well. Like,
They do have a go, Paul, but it's just the quality. People, it's like we're talking about Jesse March coming in, the job that he done in Austria. The Austrian league's far better than the Scottish league. Do you know what I mean? If Aberdeen end up playing this kind of fourth place team in Austria, Jonas, who you think to win?
Well, probably you'd have to fancy the Austrian team just due to their resources and things. But what I was waiting to say there was, see the likes of Hibs and Aberdeen and that, right? It depends on who you get drawn against as well. Because look at United last season. Okay, we beat AZ Alkmaar at home in the first leg, and then they got 7 away from home. But AZ got to the semi-finals of the thing, and the fourth in the Eredivisie. So it's not like it was any diddies that we end up getting turned over from. And then the thing is as well, we could have ended up with a mob for Bosnia, or we could have ended up with AZ Alkmaar. We got Alkmaar. It was just the luck of the draw. So if Hibs and Aberdeen
you're hoping that they get a draw that's kind to them so that they can get through a couple of rounds. Because then, ultimately, if you can get to the group stage like what Hearts done, Hearts were in the group stage of the Conference League last year, they've still made £5 million extra money. That's the only way that you'll start building up, by getting to
Is
these
that
group
much they
stages.
go for that, Mike, Jonas?
£5 million,
That's a lot
Big
of
money.
money today. Aye, that's serious money for.
But that's what I'm
Hearts,
saying,
isn't
Mark. Like spend
even
it well
good-
instead of
good
being
night.
typical Aberdeen and Hibs going down to League One and League Two buying players from down there. Do you know what I mean? Who's to say why they can't go over to Asia and scout there, or South American scout
Oh,
there? You know what I mean? Expand their scouting system.
Hearts have got a Japanese guy, haven't they? And they've got the wee who's the wee Australian midfielder I like.
The boy Devlin,
Deadly.
Aye. Good night, Northampton, mate. Thanks for joining us, bud. Aye, what do you think of him, Jonas? No
I'm no over-
Northampton, Tim. The wee boy
No.
Devlin for Hearts.
I'm no overly keen on him just because the times he's played against us, he's always sort of tried to leave the foot in, and then when someone's
Aye.
confronted him, his bottle's always crashed. I think he's a bit of a full hard man, but he's a decent enough player. And don't get me wrong, he's a bastard. He's one of the players that you can only like if he plays for your team. You hate him if he plays for an opposition club, but if he plays for you, he's a hero. You know what I mean?
Aye, it's just any
I like the fella from
kind of caught my eye just because of what you're saying, Jonas. He gets stuck in and tore in, and we're missing that.
the lad
you
from
know what I mean?
the lad from Aberdeen. Is it Doak? Is this Doak?
Duke,
Is this
yeah.
Duke?
Duke.
Right. I like to
he's a
look
good
at him.
player.
They don't
he's a
want
good
£8
player.
million for him.
Jesus, man.
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
fair play to them. It's about time they started. I mean, let's be honest. How many bog standard players are going to end up in the English Championship for £8 million this season and do absolutely nothing?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's
Not
about time Scottish
Not
teams
enough
started.
Forest just signed a 31-year-old guy that scored 6 goals in 3 years for
Chris
£15
Wood,
million.
Chris Wood.
That's
That's
what I mean.
ridiculous.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if you're seeing
And they're
transfers like that
wondering
going about, then Aberdeen are well.
Do you know what I mean?
Aberdeen are well in their rights to go and demand £8 million for one of their assets. You know what I mean? One of their best players, if not their best player.
Just the same as Celtic's entitled to ask for 25, 30 million for Kyogo or whatever. Hibs are entitled to ask for £2.5 million for Nisbet or whatever it is. And I keep saying it, like going back to John McGinn's situation, Jonas. It's like, see if Celtic come in for a player off Hibs, they're entitled to tell Celtic, we want £5 million for you. Or we're not paying that,
No,
right?
exactly, because at the end of the
And
day,
sell me
if
England,
they're the best players for the club,
that you're
then
playing against.
You've got to expect the club to demand the going rate for the guy. You know what I mean?
Aye, I mean, it's like we went in for Nisbet, right? And they were like, we want 4 million, but you're selling him in England for 2 million or whatever it is. Aye, but we're selling him to you and he could fucking score a winning goal against the Scottish Cup final in 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. So you can understand why they asked for the money that they did.
But I've said that for years about teams like even Dundee United, Mikey, Aberdeen, why they didn't even with like just come out with. Some people might consider it crazy figures, but when you see what's getting spent down in England, there's nothing wrong. If Aberdeen come out and say, look, we want £8 million for it, we can't. We're not giving you 8. We'll give you 5 plus add-ons. That's a great deal for Aberdeen to take.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here, by the way.
I thought you were maybe breastfeeding, Mikey.
I wonder if Kyogo. I wonder if Kyogo loves the club more than he loves Postecoglou. You know, I don't know, Mark. I don't know.
Do people realise as well? Do people realise that?
Celtic fans, Mickey, do you think? You know,
people realise that Ange never managed Kyogo before he came to Celtic.
exactly.
He was at another club in Japan before he signed him.
People seem to think that Ange brought him out. He was his blue-eyed boy in Japan and brought him out here.
The only one that came over was Maeda.
Maeda, yeah.
So, but,
I mean, Kyogo could be quite happy and settled at Celtic, but just as you say, Mikey, that he's only been here 2 years, and that's his only connection with Ange. But to the same extent, I think Ange was a big part of him coming here, so it could go the other way, and he could end up trying to get him in at Spurs.
That's what we were kind of saying, Mark, that a lot of the Japanese players might stay here as long as Ange is here.
Well, if Kyogo wants to go to Tottenham for big money, we can bring in Musa for free. I'll take it, like, yeah. Because I'd like to put a sort
I take
of,
that.
I'd like to put a poll out to ask the Celtic supporters who do they think is better for Celtic as a striker, domestic and in Europe, Kyogo or Musa Dembele, and see what they say.
Oh, Dembele for me all day, every day. You know how I feel about Kyogo with the amount of sitters that he misses, kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, for me, Dembele is a top striker. I wouldn't put Kyogo in the same bracket as him. I know that's probably going to upset people that are listening to live chat or that, but
Thank God Brian is gone. You know,
aye,
before I have to go to work.
aye. He's probably in the way to my house to know.
Mm.
But I take Dembele every day of the week to replace Kyogo.
And that's what I mean, and that's what I've said. And I'll be the last to say it on this podcast. I promise. Kyogo goes for 20 to 30 million to whoever, Tottenham or whatever. Musa Dembele's on a free. Just give him a decent sign-on fee and a decent wage, and then give him a 3-4 year deal. Maybe it's not as easy. I mean, maybe it's not as easy as that.
But in our world, it's that kind of. Do you know what I mean, Mike? It's just us blazing away. But I mean, that would be a no-brainer, wouldn't it?
If Celtic did dreams instead of if Carlsberg did dreams, you know, wouldn't you love it? You know, I'd love for Musa Dembele to be back at the club. How old's he now, Mickey?
27
or something.
He's no.
No, still he's prime. You know, and he's more experienced than he ever did.
He's only 26. We'd probably make another fortune off him, I know, in a couple of years.
Exactly, man.
Wouldn't we?
But his goal scoring, I think he scored about 30, and so he had a goal every second game or something for Celtic. But wasn't it just the goals? It's everything else as well, eh? And he was a good link-up player as well. He's totally different player to Kyogo, eh? Totally
Dembele, I said that to you earlier, Mikey. Dembele's my kind of striker. That's the kind of guy I like up front. And I think Big O could be the same kind of player.
Yeah, I think he'll come good, that guy, like it.
I think so.
For what I saw in the last couple of games, you know what I mean, that header.
That was unbelievable, wasn't it?
His body was away from the goal, and the way he just twisted his head to pull into the far post. Like, I mean, that's like people are forgetting. The lad's only 21, I think, is he?
21 or 21. About that, aye.
That's what I was saying to Mark earlier about that header and that, and that's what I said. I would love Celtic to sign another top winger this summer as well, because we've only got one winger, in my opinion, that puts in a very good ball most of the time, and that's Jota. Maeda's piss poor, Abada's piss poor at putting the ball in. So I'd love to get another top end winger in the club as well. You Jota and a top end winger feeding somebody like Musa Dembele, it'd be eat up the goals, eh? So
we can dream. What do you think of Dembele, Jonas?
He's a very good player, and he's proved that since he's been. It's not like he's went away for Celtic and then he's stagnated. Like, you know what I mean? Obviously, like at Lyon, his game time was a wee bit limited, like towards the end of his time when Lacazette and that came and he had his problems with injuries. But the majority of the time, he did a good job for them. He scored goals in Europe for them as well, scored goals domestically. So there's not much you can really. And like I said, 26-year-old, he's not even at his prime yet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Judith has said Bawz is the best strike cross of the ball at Celtic. You know, he could come a little star, I think. Bawz.
If he gets a chance to step up.
Yeah.
Bobby saying Maeda be completely fed up with it. I've said this
before, Mark, that's what I want too, actually, in a manager, Mark. I think that could be the risk if we did take Rodgers, that we could go back to that situation where our whole youth system is neglected again. You know?
That could be
that, you know, because we spoke it here and you spoke it like that. Roger had no interest that time with the youth system, you know, and we're actually seeing a few youth players now coming into the team. Hopefully we have a manager, Mark, that understands the way Celtic need to go.
It's not going to be Rodgers new by the looks of it, but Mars brings through youth, didn't he, Mikey?
Yeah, that's what he's good at work. Like, he's like Rodgers in the sense he's got control from top to bottom, like
Aye, but he's more. I mean, Rodgers, although he likes to control, he wasn't really that interested in any, like trying to bleed youngsters into the team and stuff like that. But that's what Marsh is that's part of his plan all along, isn't it? The way you work.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I meant by like obviously Rodgers had control, but Marsh is like his interest is for youth. That's his motto or whatever you want to call it. He's just, youth. Everything starts from youth, does it? And that's where the football club start with.
That's what Celtic need.
Yeah, exactly. Especially, Mark, when there's good players. Actually, do you know? I know he's gone now, and it didn't work out for him. Did you hear Ideguchi's comments yesterday when he made his return from injury?
No.
He criticised the Scottish football in general because he said he was back months from injury and he'd no way of playing football, no reserve league. And he said all he was doing was running on the pitch and basically that was it, trying to get fit, was doing extra runs after training, Mark, trying to bring up his fitness, and he could not get to that match level of fitness because there was no reserve league in Scotland.
Well, I see. Thankfully, they've sacked this. Was it a conference league or something they were trying to call it? Wasn't it? But I see they've sacked that because clubs were against it. But that's just a kind of. How many times do we need to go on about it? Do you know what I mean? It just shows you how bad Scottish football.
Yeah, but that's actually the first time. No, Mark,
somebody's come out and actually said that.
Said it like the benefits of having a reserve league for your injured player. Like do you remember when Moy came into the Rangers game after injury? He wasn't fit. Hitachi wasn't fit when he came back either. You know what I mean? That's the whole point of it, so that you could throw your players down there, play 1 or 2 games, get that match fitness up. You know?
See, the thing about that is, for me, Paul, see the mere it kind of goes on that there's nothing like that. The mere these young players are going to leave.
Exactly.
I mean, right, Mikey, Jonas, I don't know if you played to a high level, right? Mikey, you played to quite a high level, right? See if you were at Celtic and just kicking about in a shitey B-League game once a week and did no chance to get... Would you leave Celtic to go try and get a career somewhere else?
At the first opportunity.
You would need to take that stage of your career, would you?
Well, like I said, if I was playing for Celtic as a youth in the B team and I wasn't getting a chance in Dundee United or Dundee or Livingston or something, we're guaranteeing you first team football, I'd be away at the drop of a hat. Because then that's your profession. You're no supporter at that point.
And
obviously,
when you go, Mikey.
No, it was just that's when it I was probably different because a lot of people wouldn't care because they were at Celtic. They wouldn't care Celtic. I wanted to play.
Aye.
That's.
And but I was going to say that as you're saying, you would even go to the likes of Dundee United or something like that. Imagine Bayern Munich came in for you.
Exactly.
That's the thing about it. These players are good enough to. That's one of the kind of galling things. You know what I mean?
And he's actually playing in their reserve team now, Mark, at the moment, so he's taking the levels up each year.
Aye, but these young players, they're getting they're no. We call it the pathway, didn't it? They're no pathway into the first team. They're no set. This is what we're going to show you and do for you. And these players, if they're good enough to go to the likes of Bayern Munich and stuff like that, there's something wrong at Celtic, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Definitely, Mark. Because is there another young
coaching? The coach probably is the coaching.
Like the coaching, not to go too far off topic, but I was speaking to Mark about coaching from when I came into the game in the 90s or late 90s, early 2000s to now, and that's how I've never got involved in coaching and that. Like I said, I just went and obviously my wife gave birth about 10, 11 weeks ago now. And obviously, hopefully, he likes football and he wants to get into football. And I'm hoping to get into coaching for him. But the coaching for when I used to be coached when I was younger to now is pathetically different, and no for the better. Yeah. Like he says, when I was I was used to playing under 9s, under 10s. There was a league set up. There was like cups. You knew your league position. Like the scores were kept. When you go to watch Burns football and that now, there's no scores kept. There's no leagues. Everybody gets a trophy at the end of the season. There's no winning mentality built into youth for a young age, and I just didn't agree with it. I think it's all wrong. It's
all about PC now. I mean, I've said to you before. I've said to you before, Mikey, about our Patrick when I used to get doing. I didn't help coach the team, but I used to get down and help set up the goals and stuff like that when he was playing. And when games got to 5-0, that was the game went back to nothing each, so that the other team weren't getting upset that get beat 12, 13, 14-0. So our Patrick's team is maybe coming off the pitch, and then the way and see they know we've scored 19 goals against you, and you've only scored 4. But at the final score, the ref could the other team that only scored the 4 goals could end up winning the game because he scored 2 goals when it went back to nothing each. It was absolute nonsense.
Well, again, that's what, like, we're so white collared here in this country as well, everything as well. And again, people can tell me I maybe, like he says, I'm getting to 36 years of age, maybe I am like a dinosaur. But when my dad used to come and watch me play football and that when I was younger and that, or my coach was Jimmy Faulkner at the time, if we had a bad game, we got told you've had a bad game, or you're having a bad game or that. You can't, in this day and age, you can't say nothing to anybody now without somebody getting offended or didn't speak to me or something like that. Or it's dead confusing to me how it's went from it's a total black and white to when I used to play to what Bairns are now, and I think that's a major reason as well for the attitude of youngsters in this day and age as well. I think Jonas will be the same boat as me as well.
Yeah.
We should bend Postecoglou as a subject after tonight. Most definitely GP, because we're just looking forward now. I think excited Mark who new manager's going to be.
JFB can come on Sunday night and talk about anything he wants.
You know, Mark, I'm just excited who the new manager's going to be, and you know,
aye. I mean,
I remember
this could be a blessing in disguise. I know that sounds a bit optimistic because we're all disappointed and gutted about Ange leaving, but it could be a blessing in disguise.
And if you are the new manager, don't be coming in and shit. Or I followed fucking Celtic when I was a boy.
Nah, sack that. It's even if they did come in and say that,
come in and say
they can come in. Paul, they can come in with a ski mask on and sign fucking the Sam song for all I care now. I'm not buying into another manager.
Just come in, Mark, and say, aye. It's a great honour for me. I'm here to win trophies. I know how much this club means to the fans. I'm here to win. Just all I want to hear. You're here to win trophies. That's it. You know?
What is it? The tub thumping they call it into that. That's what the kind of political version.
That's why. That's you know why. That's why. Lloyd just pulled out of the Celtic manager job because he's afraid of his shit in case he said Danny McGrain in the fucking.
Danny McGrain stoning at the doors of Celtic Park, giving him the evil eye. What was that you said again?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why he jumped ship. I said, you know.
So it looks as if it is going to be March, really, isn't it? Just folk going with flying about the news kind of thing. If Rodgers has ruled himself out.
How fast are you expecting it, though, Mickey? How fast are you expecting it? Are you expecting a quick appointment that shows then, or we have a good plan of players? By
next weekend, I'm expecting the appointment to be made because, like I say, it's not an easy transition in getting in a new. It doesn't take. It's not just like a player that you've transferred to whatever that's you gone. When a manager changes, it's totally different. Everything changes in the club, and they need to get it set in place. Got a massive season ahead. We need to be prepared. We need to get the squad ready. Plus the manager needs to come in and assess the current squad. As much as we all think it's a great squad, another manager might come in and think, nah, it's no for me.
I say to you, Mikey, another manager could come in and say about Kyogo, oh no, I don't fancy him. He's too wee. He's too. I prefer somebody who's like a Dembele, a big muscly, strong centre forward. Another manager could come in and say that Carter Vickers is rank rotten, man. Do you know what I mean? Because he just doing his kind of height. I know he's good in there, but a lot of managers didn't. Like no English team would take a punt on Carter Vickers because he's height. Because he's height. I mean, he's all right up here in Scotland, but again, if Carter Vickers was jumping, well, Harry Kane's not going to beat Spurs, but if Carter Vickers was doing in England, jumping up against Mikey, who's a one of your Haaland, who's winning that? Haaland wouldn't even need to jump, would he?
No.
Do you know what? Do you get what I mean? That's the kind of thing, sir. I don't think. Maybe as Mikey says there, he's expecting Kyogo to go to Spurs. I don't think there's many other players that he would actually come in for. AJ wants to play in the Champions League. So he'll not be going this summer. Maybe
You'll
next
definitely
summer.
you'll definitely come in for Hatate.
Do you think that's a certainty too?
Yeah, I
Aye.
think so,
Yeah,
Mark.
but
Yeah.
he was a certainty to go to Brighton. So maybe that's changed now because he's went. I don't know if that deal's done yet or not. But if that deal's not done, I'm 99.9% sure he'll follow him to not follow him because it'll still cost big money. But I think he'll definitely go.
He
So,
could come in for a bad. I don't know how bad it was to leave. We don't know. We actually don't know what Ange could come in for. You know what I mean? We really don't. You know.
But Paul, we spoke right. I know, right? Rodgers was told if he came back in for players, it would be like a fucking couple of £1 million I'd own in that.
Could be the same,
Right.
Mark. Yeah, could
Aye.
be the same.
No, but I hope it would be the same. But
The Ange tax.
mate, but aye, but when Stevie G left Rangers,
Came in for no one.
that's it. He'll come in £20 million for Morelos, £20 million for Kent, and that's us. He never came in for anybody because he went down there, and it's like Ange could come into Spurs and say, I want Kyogo to come down, and the guys further up the chain like, oh no,
I don't think he'd be good enough for down here. Do you know that could be? Yeah, could be, Mark.
I think Kyogo would struggle down there. I really do.
You know, I agree with Rod there. I think he could come in for Yota.
We were talking about that earlier, I know, Mikey, wouldn't
Yeah.
we? Again, but let's see if that's what they want. See if fans want these players and they want to go. They're paying top dollar for them. Let them go and we'll replace them.
But that would piss me off more towards Ange Denmark. And bad enough he's going, and if he's taking the coaching staff with him, and then he's taking players. Do you know what I mean? He's
But
just building a sour taste in my opinion. You know?
the bonus, like says, the bonus we've got though is they're all under contract.
Aye.
Yeah, exactly, Mickey. Yeah.
It's
So
not
that's
even
what I check.
as if any of them's coming into the last year of their contract and they can say, oh, well, I'll sit it out for a year and join you in a free and stuff like that. If any of them want to go, let them go. But we'll be getting serious top dollar for them.
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
It'll be interesting to see. You've got an interesting few weeks ahead, I think.
It's something. Well, Jesus, at least we'll have content for podcasts rather than just sitting with nothing to talk
And we
about.
thought
Do you
we
know
had
what I mean?
we thought we had nothing for the season finish.
Aye,
like,
for the summer.
Yeah.
What about you, Jonas? What about you,
Hmm?
Jonas? Are you looking forward to next season, or what's the story with United for next year?
I'm looking forward to it, yeah, because at the end of the day, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Relegation's happened, it's over, we've processed it. Now it's just about building a squad capable of winning the league. It's as simple as that, eh?
Have United, how many players have they released?
Well, 7 been released so far, but there'll be more leaving.
So
God, that Goodwin came out. Did you know come out and say any players that don't want to be here for the fight kind of thing, they can bolt?
Yeah, no, Goodman basically just said, look, I'll not be hard to deal with. Come and see me, chat with me, or rip your contract off. I'll not be hard to deal with. If you think you can go somewhere else and get something better, or you don't have the stomach for the fight, then I'm not going to be hard to deal with pretty much, which is the right way to go about it. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. I like him. I do. I like. He's kind of straightforwardness, straight to the point kind of thing.
He doesn't suffer any fools. It was the same. Ryan Edwards was one of the first. The club captain launched first. One of the first things he did was launch them. You know what I mean?
Well, Mark, there's another appointment that went wrong that the fans didn't want. Aberdeen didn't want Goodwin from the start, and they never kind of processed him either, didn't they? Aberdeen, you know what I mean? That just didn't suit him.
Aye.
Yeah, but Aberdeen are another. Aberdeen are like just Scottish Tottenham.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Tottenham. They think they're bigger and better. Jonas will tell you because there was a new thing, like the new film or whatever it's called. It was at Dundee United.
Dundee United and Aberdeen back in the 80s. Aye.
The Aberdeen fans are again. They're at the stage where they think they're bigger and better than what they are, and they thought they were bigger and better than Jim Goodwin, which was absolute nonsense.
Exactly. So, that's the snobbery that comes from the Premier League as well, isn't it?
If they're sticking me fucking McInnes for so long, do you know what I mean?
That Aberdeen squad at the end of the day was assembled by Goodwin that got third place this season. And the players threw him under the bus at the Dartmouth game, especially and especially the 6-0 against Hibs. It was an obvious down the tools job in that game. You know what I mean? So because he had a falling out with Graham Shinney, and then Graham Shinney started a wee dressing room coup and basically turned everybody in the dressing room against him because he benched him against Darvel and obviously never played him in his last game. So at the end of the day,
player power always wins these days, unfortunately. But like I say, he's done the right thing. But he's going to clear the dead wood out for us, and he's going to have a squad there that are tough to beat. Two just no nonsense hard centre halves, a dirty bastard in the middle of the park, which we missed this season, and he's going to have the right players to get us out that league, and I'm confident he will do.
They're you Deef trying to smooch into you there, Jonas.
Saying, oh,
Saying
United
you-
sticking
you-
to you.
I try to be a wee, I try to crawl. Yeah, wee crawler, good Deef. Good night, Eddie. Thanks for coming in, mate. Thanks a lot.
Can it Jonas obviously was on about they need somebody like that's an enforcer in the middle of the pitch. I'll not use the word dirty B. I'll use the word enforcer in the middle of the pitch. I never ever understood how they got rid of Callum Butcher.
I know, and then Butchers went to Motherwell and won
Yeah,
like
did
player of the year and that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? But
It's just
that-
idiotic, yeah.
yeah, but the problem with that Butcher, the whole Butcher scenario, which you would have needed to empty half the squad because there was obviously underlying issues behind the scenes because he was at the capers. But again, that should have been brushed under the carpet. It was done. The players that were involved were away from the club by that point, so that should have just been buried. That hatchet, in my opinion.
Well, like I say, as I promised you.
Up to capers. What a saying that is.
Got to keep
What,
that
is
right, PC.
That's up to no good. That's up to no good for any of us weegies.
As I promised Jonas next season, I promised him at least a good few games that I'll go to him away from home.
Both in that on the train,
I'm going to go to Arbroath away and that. So I'll give, like I say, I like to go to the odd game with Jonas as well. So I'll give me a few interesting stadiums to go to, like.
Jonas, just caught the journey. Just start that on Twitter. The journey.
All right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Aye, the journey. That's your way back to the top.
Come on. Like I said, I'll get to take a few grounds off that I've no beat at Queen's Park, Airdrake, and places like that. So there's a few different venues and that to take in.
See if you're coming through to like places like Airdrie and stuff like that, Jonas. Honestly, geez, I bell you and Mikey. That's not that far for me.
Aye.
That's reachable for me without any real grief. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
But the thing about Airdrie's a bit orangey. We'll go that way, kind of thing with it. But if you're going to an Airdrie game or that, Jonas, get me a ticket and I'll come through to Airdrie. No bother. It's about 20 minutes, half an hour away from me at the most.
I think the bonus is what a lot of these games, Mark, is it's fight to get it.
You can't still pay at the gate, can you?
Yeah, you could. Hey, Jonas.
Oh, his phone must have
Okay.
died. You heard me saying that, Mike. If you're coming through to that, let me know. Do you know what I mean? Oh, he's there.
No, I come up my lock. I just lock like my lock screen comes on and then my mic mutes, so now I can hear you. But I keep going to speak and forgetting I'm on mute. But yeah, no, like I say, there are still some championship grounds I think you can pay at the gate. But even if you can't, like at least it's easy enough to get into these places. You know what I mean?
Nah, there's no stuff for sellouts or that. You know.
Nah. There'll not be any ticket panics for us this season, apart from probably Dunfermline away. That might be the only stadium that's a bit lower. I can you still get the full stand behind the goal, but we do tend to take quite a decent support. Internet, we'll fill our away ends at all the grounds this year, like so.
That's it. Yeah, I think Jonas and his mates have been trying to buy me a season ticket for the last 10 years.
With the won the league better. Qualified for
Because that's what like every time that I went.
Is it that dear? Is it that dear?
Every time that I went to a United match with Jonas, I think I've got a 99.9% win record every time I went to see United.
He's maybe lost about 2 games the whole time or something. Some
Like I
mental
say,
stat
I've
like
been to Ibrox twice.
Get in the mascot outfit. Get in the mascot. What's your mascot called, Jonas?
Terry the Terror, the Lion.
Terry the Terror.
That's what's funny. Like
Thomas Burns, nice to see you, mate. A new name there again. Does not want Jesse Marsh.
Failure at Leeds, not for me, my friend. And I think that's what I was saying, Mark, earlier on, that it's the Leeds thing. I think that's putting the fear into Jesse.
But there's a lot of recency bias, though. You know what I mean?
But I mean, what's a failure? Was Brendan Rodgers a failure at Liverpool for no winning the league?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
was he a failure last season at Leicester, Mark? Was he a failure last season at Leicester?
Just even, I mean, as we spoke about earlier, just going to Leeds, Leeds was a poison chalice. They've had one decent manager in about 20 years, and that was
Bielsa, yeah.
Aye. Apart from that, But through some top managers that have just not been able to hack that there at that club as well. It's just another. I mean, Leeds. I can remember when Leeds were a massive club, even back in the 80s and that. And then they got to the kind of David O'Leary time, and I quite liked Leeds. I mean, I was always a Man United man, but at the time when David O'Leary was there, Ian Hart and Gary Kelly and stuff like that, great players for them. Tony Yeboah, stuff like that, absolutely brilliant players Leeds had. They were
great Leeds teams, Mark, weren't they?
But for that time with David O'Leary, after that, they've just been, again, another kind of struggling, sleeping giant, whatever you want to call it. And just an absolute other poison chalice. There's so many clubs like that down in England, and it's because they think that because of the money, they think they're better than they think they should be better than them. But when the push comes to shove, no matter what money comes into play, if you're not getting the right players, the right setup and stuff like that, you're going to bomb. And the bigger clubs are always just going to be at the kind of top. Do you know what I mean? That's what happens.
Correct.
Your JFP saying Airdrie a bit orange.
Martin is saying, I say Kennedy. I say give Kennedy a chance. Rogers wanted him. Ange wanted him. Must be something there.
So did Hearts. The Hearts no sniffing about Kennedy. If Naismith wasn't going to take it or something like that.
That Quafente is in the role for Hearts as well, foreign manager as well.
I don't know.
Where's he, Jonas?
He's Spanish or Portuguese, I can't remember exactly, but he's one of the two of them. But he's done a good job abroad in that, and he's quite highly. He's been sounded out for a few jobs in that. Like he was close to a couple of championships.
Did Naismith not get that job? No, yet. No, I thought he got that. The Hearts job.
I don't think he's actually got it yet, Paul.
No, it's not confirmed yet.
No, but I think that's who the fans want. But they were meant to have been sniffing about Kennedy. I know that, but I don't know if Kennedy. We've spoken about that before. How long? He just. I mean, he must be a good coach. They're not denying that. But he had the chance at Celtic when Lennon left, and he never changed anything when that was his chance to do something. And he said that many. I mean, was he not close to taking off for you, Jonas, as well at one point?
He was linked to us, but I don't know if there was ever any talks of him coming. But yeah, he was a name that was getting bandied about when we at the beginning of the season.
He doesn't seem to. He seems to be one of the guys that doesn't fancy being the kind of top guy, didn't he?
Seems to be linked to a lot of jobs, but never actually gets a job.
Aye.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I think we'll link that up, man.
To help Kennedy. You know
what?
Bringing the director of football to help Kennedy. Martin is saying that.
But that's not going. But a director of football's only got to help him to a certain extent, Paul. A director of football's not going to help him when he's setting up tactics and the team on the pitch and keeping control of the dressing room.
Exactly, because then you're saying your director of football is too involved in the first team.
Aye, your director of football's above fucking the petty stuff out the dressing room and that. They're directing the club. Do you know what I mean? The manager's there to look after the team. The director of football's there to look after every other department or the football side of the game, kind of thing. But as I said, I think that's 10-9, man. I think we'll give that a buy.
Yeah,
Jonas,
that's it, lads.
Jonas, we'll get you back on because we might do a wee kind of just general thing about Scottish football with you, bud.
That's the problem.
I don't sort something out. As I said to you earlier, I was planning on getting you on for that. Just a wee kind of end of season review. I know it's been a wee bit kind of Celtic dominant tonight when you've been on. Nobody much to say, you know what I mean?
That's no problem at all.
But thanks very much for coming on.
No bother. Thanks for having us again.
That's it, Mark.
I want to thank everybody in the chat as well for getting involved in the podcast as well. It's good that when people ask more questions in the chat because these were a wee bit more to talk about.
Aye, that's it, Mikey. That's how I even like this using this kind of StreamYard thing. You can put things up on the screen that everybody sees, so we can see that, and that uses other things you talk about. We're just trying to make stuff up ourselves. But thanks again, Jonas, Mikey, brilliant. Thanks for coming on. You as well, Paul. Everybody that joined the live chat, hope you enjoyed it. At one point, I think we had 30 odd people listening at one point, which is absolutely brilliant. Thanks very much, everybody that listens live. And remember, please hit the like button and leave a comment if you know how. Thanks very much to everybody that listens back on Spotify, through YouTube and stuff
Martin,
like that.
Mark, just tell Martin there when he wants to know when we're on next. We're normally here on Sunday afternoons at 6:30, but we'll be back on as soon as we hear any news about Celtic's new manager. You know,
I believe it. Even we'll try and even do one later on in the week just to get a wee catch up with what is actually going on with a bit of the gossip and that, Martin.
Exactly.
As long as you subscribe, you'll get a and turn on your notifications with a wee bell. You'll get a notification half an hour before the podcast starts, so you'll never ever miss any.
Well, there you go. I didn't know that. Brilliant, Mikey, sir. There you go. Hit the like button, mark it for notifications, and if you know how, leave a comment. Thanks very much, everybody. Hail, hail, good night, and God bless.